Small warning before you watch this video for those who have not experienced the story of Echo and are wanting to, specifically Leo's route. This video is going to jump around a lot, meaning you are not going to probably be able to follow what's going on. For those who have already played Leo's route, or Echo, or just do not care in general, enjoy. Echo. Yes, another furry visual novel. Don't worry, this is going to be all in one video. Doesn't matter how much of the story is kept in. You're just going to be seeing the best of my reactions pretty much. So, I've heard a lot about this game. I've heard it'll probably destroy me. No, I've got everything. No, TJ's with us. We picked him up yesterday. No, I did call you yesterday. There was no answer. Fine, yeah. I'll try more than once next time. So of course they're clean. Listen, I'm driving right now, so... Yeah, so I shouldn't be on the phone, should I? I'm gonna hang up. Okay, love you too. Bye. I sigh and finally hang up the phone, dropping it on my lap. TJ, next to me in the passenger seat, stretches back and scratches behind his ear. Oh, that's cute. It's been a while since I've seen your mom. How is she? I shrug. Fine, I think. She wouldn't tell me if she wasn't anyway. TJ taps a foot against the dashboard before yawning. I'll admit I got us lost for a few hours. Route 93 is hard to find, even with the GPS. It's no wonder that Echo's in the state it's in. You should have brought a book. Those don't run out of batteries. I look up into the rearview mirror and see Jenna hold up a hefty book titled Cognition. TJ sighs. All of my books are on my phone. Why don't you listen to the radio? TJ starts to reach for the dial. Don't bother. All we get out here are Hicks stations. I have some music on my phone, though. Do you have an aux cable, Chase? In this clunker? No. Like I said, we're almost there. I think we're all a little nervous now as we get closer to our destination. Unsurprisingly, there isn't another car in sight. You guys excited? I look at my rearview mirror again and see that Jenna has put down her book, staring out the window. I actually haven't given a whole lot of thought to how I feel about the whole thing. Yeah, sure. What a weird selection noise. It'll be great to see everyone again. It's been way too long. I'm in Echo. Are you excited to go back? Oh, I didn't really know how to answer that. Is excited the right word? It sure as hell stressful. As long as we can go for a hike. I don't want to be sitting around in the motel all day. So, this news thing you're making, what's it about exactly? Swerve a little to avoid another pothole. A news packet. You remember there was that one crazy thing that happened here in the early 1900s. I read a little about it and it's pretty fucked up. Come on, Chase, language. Just thought I'd do a little more digging. Honestly though, I just need to make something that looks good enough to pass with. Is TJ really like the fucking language? Oh. Ugh. I hope you're grateful, TJ. Never want to drive that long again. Thanks, Chase. Well, it's a bit musty. The room is spacious and generally clean. A lot more than I was expecting from a town like Echo. Wow, Echo must really just be a shithole. Although I've lived in the town for most of my life, I've never actually been in the motel. Hey, this is nice. And 2 double beds? Yeah, I thought I'd get one of the nicer rooms, since everything here is dirt cheap. TJ sets his bags down on the bed. So I guess this'll be me and Chase's bed. Are we a couple? Jenna can have her own, obviously. That's nice of you, TJ. Anyway, here are your keycards. Half an hour later, we've all got our stuff packed away in the motel drawers. Now I'm sitting on the bed, toying with my camera equipment while TJ watches TV and Jenna organizes her schoolwork. You know you're on vacation, right? And didn't you already get into grad school? You should relax. That's exactly why I need to be keeping up. There's a knock at the door, and being the closest, I get up to answer it. I'll get it. I look through the people excitedly and see a beanie cap with a pair of some very familiar horns poking through it. I grin as I unlock the door and swing it open. Carl! Chase! That's right, he's a stoner, right? I slap paws with him and pull him into a hug. And immediately get a whiff of the pungent scent of pot. Yep, there's my man. Despite that, his embrace is warm and plush, and his belly squished against my body like a pillow through his jacket. There's an underlying sturdiness, though, and I feel his biceps bulge around my shoulders. Had he been working out? Put my paws on his shoulders and push him back, looking him over. He's changed a bit since I've last seen him. He's definitely bulkier, and the fur on his face is a bit shaggier. His eyes are a little red, and his expression is a little glazed, like he's daydreaming about someplace far away from here. Still getting blazed, huh? You know it. His jokey nature drops a bit as he gives me a genuine smile. It's good to see you again. Though he's smiling happily, TJ's outright crinkling his nose. Still up to your old habits, huh? Carl shrugs. I'm starting to remember that it's something he does a lot. It's his answer to almost everything. Hey, me too. It gets quiet for a moment, then I clap my paws together. So what have you been up to, Carl? You're not online that often. Carl shrugs. Oh, you know, just hanging out. Must be kind of boring, considering its echo. Not going outside helps. You been able to find a job? I know they closed the old corner market you used to work at. Yeah, been kind of hard since pretty much everything's closing around here. On top of that, I still don't have a car that can get me to Peyton. Oof, that's right. You crashed though when your parents got you. TJ's grinning sympathetically, but Carl hunches further into himself, looking sulky. Man, don't kill my vibe. What about school? Been thinking about going back? Not really, maybe. Carl's starting to lose that faraway look as he narrows his eyes. You should. You went for what? A semester? It's not really enough time to tell if you're really cut out for college. Classes get easier to handle once you get used to it. Yeah, well, it wasn't exactly the schoolwork that was the problem. You could try smoking less weed. That might help. No! So we're gonna eat? I'm hungry as hell. Hell is a little extreme there. Fucking TJ. Okay. As a person who's grown up, kind of been forced to grow up in Christian communities, someone who's a pastor's son, I can already tell I'm not gonna like TJ at all. Sure. Where's Leo? He's bringing the sandwiches, right? He actually just texted me that he's here. He was picking up Flynn. So we're all gonna be here, just like old times. TJ almost looks like that little kid Lynx again, his ears twitching around with excitement. Oh, there they are. I grip the bedspread and watch as Carl moves around the corner to open the door. I hear it open, followed by the distinctive, deep, brassy voice of Flynn. Wow, hey, why are you getting the door, fatty? Damn. To get my sandwiches, dickface. I've got the munchies like a mother. Where are they? Leo has them. Here he is. Hey, they all in there? What voice am I giving Leo? My heart skips a beat, my tail thumps the bed as I hear Leo's high baritone. There's some bustling before they start coming around the corner, bringing me face to face with the rest of my childhood friends. Oh, hey. And who you calling a dick face? Flynn knocks Carl on the head, which made a loud thunking sound, but Carl just grins throughout. Hey Jenna, TJ, Chase. He nods to each of us in turn, rubbing his knuckles. Yeah, pictures I've seen of him. Immediately following him, his arms wrapped around two big brown paper bags, is Leo. He smiles over the tops of the bags, sweeping the room with his eyes along with his tall rectangular ears. He pauses on Jenna, then TJ, before finding me. His face immediately breaks into a full-on grin as he walks over to the bed I'm sitting on, setting down the bags. As it comes to a stop in front of me, I reach out my paw to slap his, like I did with Carl. Instead, he grabs it to yank me up right into a tight bear hug, nearly squeezing the air out of me. Chase! Man, I missed you! Just like Carl, it seems like Leo's gotten bigger and stronger. He lifted me up without even trying. The tension I've been feeling in my chest melts away like an ice cube on an Echo sidewalk. Everything's fine. The hug is lasting kinda long, though. I can feel everyone else looking at us. And just like that, he forgets we exist. Leo finally does pull back then, smacking me on the shoulder before turning to greet Jenna and TJ. Someone turn down the goddamn thermostat! Somebody turn down your language! TJ says it to him like a cheerful kindergarten teacher pep-talking a student into using his words. They stare at each other for about 5 seconds, Flint's expression like a stone, while TJ slowly loses his smile. Well, Jesus butt fucking Christ, I'll be sure to watch that. Flynn! TJ actually looks pretty upset, but Flynn just reaches out and yanks him into a chokehold. The much shorter Link's easily dwarfed by the lizard. Oh, shut up, you priss, I'm just kidding. Just half-heartedly fights the hold. Anyway, you told me that on Monday everyone's free during lunch. I can tell by the set of Leo's ears that he knows where I'm going, and he's not too into the idea. I quickly go on. Of course, we don't have to, but it's been a long time, and if the town is making it look better, it could be fun. Listen, Chase. I feel my face burn a little under the fur. Sorry, it was a dumb idea. No, Chase. If it were up to me, I'd definitely do it. It's just... Leo looks towards Flynn, and I do as well, finding him still bantering with Carl. Doesn't matter how fucking fast you eat, I'm not gonna be impressed. They're still going on about that. Looking pretty happy there, Leo. Not like you've been for the past 3 years. I furrow my brow in confusion and look up at Leo. I see him shift, and he's giving Flynn a look that I don't quite understand. Well, of course I'm happy to see us all back together again. I look from Leo to Flynn. It's pretty easy to imagine a bolt of electricity between them. You should have seen him, Chase. He'd go days without smiling. Agreed. Leo's been kind of a dick ever since you guys left. Isn't Jenna a counselor? Hey, you should have a session with Leo. I'm still an undergrad. I'm not going into counseling anyway. That would just make me sad. TJ's busy trying to hold his sandwich together, eat at the same time. Not very successfully, but he looks up as well. Leo depressed? It's hard to imagine you not smiling. You seemed fine online. Has something been going on, Leo? Aww. First time since he's arrived, Leo looks truly uncomfortable. You don't see him like that very often. Flynn, on the other hand, has his trying not to smirk face on. What? Leo pauses, pinned down by everyone's eyes in the room. Then he takes a frustrated breath. Can't people be sad sometimes? Yes, things have been harder, but I'm fine. I think it's pretty clear that Flynn, flicks his long muzzle at the lizard, is just trying to get some reactions. Sure, I'm just saying you're back to your old self, but seriously, it's great. Maybe you should watch Luce Lobo, TJ. He's shirtless the whole time. TJ's ears go flat, tufts pointed on the grounds. I better stop it with all this saucy talk. The only way this could get any more awkward is if you got sprung. We all groan in unison, but TJ shoots right back. Knowing you, that's exactly what you want to happen, isn't it, Flynn? He gets a few surprised chuckles. Damn, TJ, where'd that come from? It isn't that it's a particularly good joke. It's that it came from TJ that makes it so funny. I don't think I've ever heard him talk like that. Even Flynn can't keep from grinning a little bit. We talk late into the afternoon. At this point, all of my worries have disappeared, leaving a happy, warm feeling in its place. It seems silly that I'd been so nervous earlier. In fact, I'm starting to look forward to the rest of the week. Echo first began as a settlement in 1852 after James Hendricks discovered gold in a quartz deposit. The town grew quickly in size, and once it began to serve as a junction along Prescott Railway, it reached a peak population of 6,500 in 1877. It was at this point in time that a peculiar phenomenon of mass hysteria took over. Many say the reasons this occurred was due to the discovery of a body within the gold mine and the circumstances surrounding that discovery. While not much is known about this event, what is known is that once it ended, a large portion of the population left Echo. Most of those who left settled in the nearby town of Peyton. However, the town still managed to prosper well enough until the 40s. That's when the government stepped in to shut down the mine, as it became a federal law to divert all mining resources to the war effort. The town's population sharply declined shortly thereafter, and by the 1950s, it had dwindled to approximately 2,000 people. A shutdown of the Prescott Railway in the 1960s, followed by the bypassing of Route 93 by I-40 in 1986, was the final nail in the coffin for the town. He had scratched the shit out of my forearm, grabbing it with both paws once we started the descent. Fortunately, Flynn and Carl were still on the platform when we rolled back into the boarding station. Flynn looked ready to lay into TJ again, but when he saw the tears, he had the decency to hold back. Man, Flynn's a jackass! The gesture makes me feel a little warm. I can feel TJ's eyes on us, but I ignore him, enjoying the position of intimacy. The sounds of the clapping and fiddles starts to drift away as the lack of sleep takes its toll. I feel along the rough edges of rock and dirt. The only thing I can hear is the shower of debris I'm knocking to the ground. The air is stale, and I have the vague feeling that I'm suffocating. I keep going. I'm gonna reach the end eventually. Just have to keep moving. I can tell that I'm going down, deeper and deeper. Space around me is growing smaller and smaller, and soon, I'm hunching so that my head doesn't scrape the ceiling. I can hear footsteps, not quite in synchrony with my own. They aren't any kind of footsteps that I've heard before. I stop and listen. There's definitely the sound of feet, but not like they're walking. It's like they're stamping down on the ground, making as much noise as possible. This is accompanied by a slapping sound, as if someone is smacking their paws on the ground as well. I imagine a canine toddler still insisting on walking on all fours while throwing a tantrum. It's heavier though, like an adult is doing it. That image makes the nape of my neck prickle, but I'm not scared. It's not long after I've stopped that the noise stops as well. Just 10 feet behind me. I turn, watching the darkness. I knew you'd come back. They always do. My voice sounds clogged, muted, like the rocky walls are just sucking up the sound instead of bouncing them down the tunnels. The stamping starts up again, loudly, coming towards me at full speed. Now I can hear sobbing, sniffling, and a strange guttural grunting. It's just feet away. They're only moving in circles. It veers away just as the words leave my mouth, going back the way it came. I stand there a while, listening until I can't hear it anymore. I turn and continue on, feeling the walls again as I make my way lower and lower. The smell hits me right as my paws hit it, slick and slippery. Blood coats the walls and the walls. My paws run along like thick oil. It's warm and fresh. Now I know I'm getting close. The voice abruptly echoes down the tunnel. It's not far away at all. What is happening? I knew you'd come back. They always do. I make my way closer and closer now. Fear pricks my heart. They always do. I hear muffled screams now, as if someone is yelling with their mouth closed. Now the fur is standing up all over my body. My feet won't stop. I keep going. I'm getting closer and closer. You're only moving in circles. I'm here. It's right here in front of me. And now I'm reaching out to it. Reaching out to touch it. I can't stop. I can't stop. Jesus. Fuck. Whoa. Didn't expect that. Kinda hungry, we should meet back up. He gets back to me pretty quick. Okay, mostly done wit rids. Leo, come on. Grammar, Leo. Meet at food Kurt. Come on. Jace, Leo has some things to say to you, and yes, it's about that. Now I'm going to head back in and make sure Carl didn't light up in the bathroom. What's happening? Jenna! His tone changes to exasperation as Jenna turns on her heel and leaves. I hear him drawing a breath a few times, as if he's going to say something, but ends up blowing it out with a sigh. We were never good at this. Probably why it ended up failing like it did. Aww, they broke up. I guess I remember that. Leo. I'm sorry, Chase. For what? Not talking to you about this when I should have. Talking to Jenna about it when I should have been talking to you. He reaches out and sets a paw on my shoulder, the silver anchor on his wrist glinting just a bit in the fading light. He's smiling at me, but I grit my teeth. Why are you still wearing that? His eyes flick from the bracelet, then back to my face, expression turning defensive. Why aren't you still wearing yours? Don't you remember what we said? I sigh, looking at the scattering of clouds behind Leo's head. They're tinged a soft pink from the fading sun. The sunset is almost the same color as Leo's fur. Leo, we were teenagers. That's not an answer. Cuts me off and I look back at him. I told you, they weren't love bracelets. They weren't just about our relationship. They were about everything. Our friends, family, memories. Echo. Raise my voice above his, cutting him off this time. Or at least tell me why before you broke it off. I stay silent for a while, then finally look up, setting my jaw. Like I said, I was young and dumb. I didn't know how to handle it. I can keep apologizing, or we can move on and make the most of this. Really, Chase? That's the best you got? Could fucking make it up to him. So he just up and left him and he just ghosted him? And you know, we probably would have found way more stuff if you guys hadn't been dragging me down. I remember when... Are we really fucking talking about this? Everyone turns to look at Flynn. Jesus, Flynn. His voice is low and dangerous. There's a chill in the air because we all know what he means. I was actually feeling pretty good about it at this point, like we crossed a bridge, being able to talk about it for once. Apparently we hadn't. Flynn. No, I'm serious. Do you think it's okay to fucking talk about this when the lake is just a quarter mile that way? You know what, Flynn? I think we should. Isn't that part of the reason why we're here? Oh, no. If that were the case, we'd be over there. But we're here. And why is that? Everyone's quiet for a moment. I see TJ shrink into his chair, staring hard at his lab. Flynn, we came here because Chase needed footage. A change comes over Flynn. His face darkens and everyone senses it. Flynn turns to me and it takes some effort not to flinch back. Yeah, and why is that, Chase? You're gonna put that in your fucking documentary? No, Emma Lake is an important part of Echo's history. Just what? Flynn raises his brow ridge at me. And I finally just lower my eyes. This was a stupid fucking idea. Probably. You've been a mess ever since he left, so let me be the one to tell you. It's over. It's fucking unhealthy. You're obsessed with him. Slowly his head turns to me, and I brace myself. I can't imagine why. You, Chase, have the personality of a fucking rock. What happened, TJ? Flynn? Leo stands up, and from his posture I can tell the wolf's ready to fight. Memories are starting to flow back. TJ, Flynn thinking he'd done something to... I stand up as well. Flynn may sound like a hard ass, but physically Leo had him beat, easily. Flynn can obviously tell that he might have a fight on his hands, though, and it's clear he doesn't want that. He drops his shoulders, seeming to shrink. Yeah, you piece of shit, just get the fuck out of here. It's just that I'm not used to seeing him do it. He started right after I left. He pulls out a lighter, lights it, takes a drag, then blows the smoke out the side of his muzzle, away from me. You're meant to swim, not walk on rocks. I mean, technically Carl is built for that, and he's still falling down all the time. I think that's because Flynn's always tripping him with his tail. Speaking of Carl, grunting, I lean over sideways and look at the side of the boulder. I find what I'm looking for instantly, a series of chips and scratches, outlining the rough figure of a canine with a long cape and an S on his chest. Ha! It's still there. Carl's drawing? Shit, I forgot about that. Never finished it, did he? Nah, but it's pretty good. Remember how Superwolf was the only thing he talked about that summer? Yeah, and the movie wasn't even that good. Nah, we'll stop at the convenience store and get some peroxide. There's some nasty shit around this lake. It's fine, seriously. Just to be safe. I smirk. Safe? Like this? I reach up and grab at the cigarette dangling from his lips. He's quick, though, and whips his head away before taking it out of his muzzle. Hey! Don't hey me. Why the fuck are you smoking? His ears fall flat again and he glares. Why the fuck do you care? He spits that out with so much venom that I lean away from him, eyes wide. He's never talked to me like that before, and I was joking too. What? Leo quickly looks away and doesn't say anything. I stare at his face for a while, watch his eyes flick around as he just shakes his head. Are you still mad at me? We talked. Of course I'm still mad, Chase. Talking doesn't just fix 3 years. All the progress I thought we made on Saturday was an illusion. Leo's just as upset as he's always been about what happened. I don't know what you want me to say. What do you want me to say, Leo? That I was wrong to leave? That I should have just stayed here? Not leaving me in the dark would have been a good start. Yeah, I fucked that up, but it happened and I can't fix that. What do you want to happen now? Leo stretches his arms out to either side in one giant shrug. I don't know. This is already familiar. 1,000 past fights flash through my mind. Did we ever agree on anything? I slide off the boulder and Leo snaps his muzzle toward me, probably thinking I'm gonna leave. Instead, I lean one paw against the rock as I turn to glare at him. Feels better yelling at someone standing up rather than sitting down. Oh, I know exactly what you want. Oh, do you? You just want me to drop everything and come back here, back to Echo. When did I ever ask you to drop anything? I just want to know if you're coming back. How am I supposed to know that? Why can't you plan ahead further than next week? I swear it's always like this with you. I let out an exasperated laugh. I'm 21. I don't fucking know about anything. How should I know what I want? Well, I'm here. Don't you want to come back and live with me? We always planned for it. His voice softens, and I pause. Thinking about it right now, it is something I would want. It's just... Is Echo so bad that its negatives outweigh my benefits? I mean... I gesture at the town in the distance, looking as shitty and rusted as ever, then to the lake, looking as shitty and mucky as ever, then to the desert around us, looking as shitty and dry as ever. Then you don't really care about Leo then, man. Starting to think you just want an excuse not to be around me. Starting to think that what Flynn said was true. He looks straight at me, eyes narrowing over his muzzle, his nostrils flaring. What? I'm not obsessed with you, I miss everyone, that's all. Is that wrong? I go quiet for a while and turn to look back over the lake, squinting at the bright reflective flashes of light. It can be. And compared to where I was born, this isn't shit. He huffs out smoke through his nose, not bothering to blow it away from me this time, and I'm engulfed in the smell of tobacco. I mean, not to be an asshole, but you gringos have it easy. My mom got a phone call almost every month telling her they'd kill my dad just because they had money. He has always been good at making me feel like a spoiled brat. I'm sorry. His arm tightens around me and I turn my head to rub my nose into his chest. I can smell his musk under the heavy deodorant. It's a familiar smell I like. Don't be. I mean, we all play our cards, right? Try to have a little more perspective. He leans his chin on the top of my head. I feel like we should have some boundaries since we're not exactly a couple anymore. But this feels right. I love this town. And I love you guys. I just want things to work out. Not to lose touch. We had something really special. You're such a wolf. Thanks. I lay a paw on his thigh and rub it slowly, thinking. I mean, is there really no way you could leave with me? It would make things so much easier. Please don't ask that. I can't leave them. I could never do that. You know this. Of course I did. We've argued about it over 100 times already. I squeeze his thigh. So, are you still mad at me? I listen to Leo breathe in deeply, my head rising with his chest. No, Otter, I'm not mad. We just have a lot of things to figure out, but we will. I guess that's as good place as any to leave off, so I move on to another subject. Find anything interesting? TJ shrugs, pulling the trigger on the gun a few times, It's definitely a weird looking gun. It's pink and the muzzle is perfectly round, the end tapered. That's when I realize it's a penis water gun. I'm alright, just a little tired. He looks over at me, his brows raised. You feeling better after yesterday though? Yeah, a bit. Just wish it hadn't happened. Of course. So you're not going with me and Jenna on the hike then? Guess not. Leo said he might need some help setting up for the party at his house. I mean, you sort of promised me, but I guess that's alright. I cringe on the inside. You haven't seen him in a while, so it's good you guys can have some time to catch up. TJ lifts up the penis gun and points it at his face, squinting an eye and looking down the barrel. How the fuck can he not tell? He must know what a dick looks like. But Jenna and Leo have already taken up their positions side by side, leaning forward. Alright, to that lamppost. Huh, you're on. Count on us. Count us off, Chase. How is this proving anything? Don't you need to be carrying Chase? Alright, ready, set, go. Leo actually gets a bit of a head start since he anticipated the go, but Jenna catches up right away. In fact, she's 10 feet ahead of him just 5 seconds into the race. I can hear her laughing as she gracefully speeds ahead, her tail whipping around like a flag, as she zips off towards the horizon. Leo, realizing he's going to lose, is frantically flailing his arms around, his ears and head down as he charges forward. I'm actually surprised by how bad he's losing. I mean, he used to play football back in high school, so he's had some training. With his head down, I guess he doesn't see the curb right in front of him. And his foot clips it as he passes. I hear the yelp, then you see him careening off to the side, then roll on the asphalt before slamming up against the tire. Oh, shit. Oh my gosh. I'm already running up to where Leo's fallen. He's sitting up against the tire, one paw to his head as he grits his teeth in pain. Are you alright? Jesus, you hit that hard. I kneel down next to him, and the second he sees me, he grins and quickly scrambles up, brushing his paws. I'm fine. I just tripped a bit. I can see spots on his paw pads that are skinned and bleeding, and I wince. Jesus Christ, Leo, that wasn't just a bit. Jenna, having noticed that her competition had eaten shit, jogs back to us, her paws on her hips as she breathes heavily. Well, now you know who you're more likely to survive with in a zombie apocalypse, Chase. Remember it. Jenna, don't push it. Come on. The drive back is only a little awkward. A little. To her credit, Jenna does try to apologize to Leo, but he just waves it off like it isn't a big deal. I can tell by how he's overdoing the cheerfulness that that's not the case. We drop DJ and Jenna off halfway up the trail, which happens to be right next to the highway. Once we're alone in the car, Leo starts messing around with the CD player. You might remember this. As the music fills the car, I'm immediately transported back to my high school days. Jesus, is this carpet stains? Yup. Leo's grinning at me, occasionally glancing towards the road. This is a band we listened to together in my junior and senior year. You still into this stuff? It's nostalgic. The music carries a lot of memories for me, and the fact that I hadn't listened to it since I'd last been in this town made it all the more powerful. Sure, the music is simple, the lyrics embarrassing, but I miss it. Maybe. I think I could be if I listened to it again. Me too. As we drive, I mouth the lyrics under my breath. You haunt everything in my life. I see you in the clouds, in the sky so blue. I see your outline in my screen door, too. Wow. Kept the same room, huh? Your parents' room is bigger, isn't it? Yeah, well, I'm used to it being here. Would be kind of weird hanging out in my parents' room. Anyway, sides. It plops down next to me, bouncing me up and down in the bed. I don't really need the space. So what do you do around here? Feels kind of empty. I'm really only here to sleep, otherwise I'm on the computer. You know, porn. He looks at me and grins. I look over at his computer. It's got a nice chair and I can guess what the box of tissues next to the monitor is for. But that's not what holds my attention. Instead, I see 3 holes punched right through the drywall. Whoa. Around those are several more, less successful dents in the wall, some with knuckle-shaped features. Jesus. Holy shit. Leo's ears fall flat and he lets out an embarrassed laugh. Yeesh, yeah, that's my fault. I really get into my games. I stand up and walk towards the wall, examining the damage. Leo stands up too, clearly uncomfortable. That was a few years ago, though. I don't play that game anymore. Damn, Leo, you're fucking crazy. Poke a finger through one of the holes, realizing that punching through the wall with one try wasn't anything to sneeze at. And strong. You still got that temper of yours. I don't. It was just the one game. I should be logged on. Ask him what he's doing tomorrow. We need to plan this out right. Okay. I sit down in the chair and wake the computer up. Sure enough, Leo's already logged into his account. I look at his friends list, seeing that Carl is idle. I send him the message anyway, then lean back in the chair, almost freaking out as it leans back way further than I thought it would. Must be all those jerk-off sessions Leo's had. I drum my paws against the desk for a bit, then look back towards the door. Leo's probably gonna be a while, and I'm curious. Oh, come on. Gonna look at his fucking porn. Jesus. Also, wow. Snooping Chase. Kind of a piece of shit thing to do. Social media litters the first few slots. Then there's one called Mech Forums, and another called Mechan United. Then, of course, there are a few sports and football specific sites. Finally, I get to one called Gay Viddies, and then another called Otter Sluts. Whoa. I snort loudly at that one. I'll click on the history tab next. I scroll through it for a while, the first 50 or so relating to some DJ or hip-hop artist. Finally, I see the word cock and know that I'm looking at one of Leo's porn sessions. You know, you do that, there's gonna be... it's gonna show up in the history closer now. It's pretty standard stuff, ass, balls, making out, blowjobs. But that's when I start seeing a pattern. Gay otters. Otter asses male. Male otters tail up. Gay blowjob otters. I raise my brows and click on the search bar for the history, typing in otter before hitting enter. The results spill down the window, the scroll bar small enough that I have trouble clicking on it to pull it down. Was Leo only into me because he had an otter fetish? I start to feel a little depressed as I scroll through the results, and that's when I notice another pattern. At least half the results have wolf in the search phrase, and not just that. Wolf otter gay. The nape of my neck prickles as I scroll down the hundreds of results. That's when I hear the door open in the hallway. I jump, first covering the screen with my paws like an idiot, then quickly exiting out of the window. Except that doesn't work. The sheer amount of results I get from Leo's shame must have fucked up the CPU somehow. Desperately, I bang the mouse against the desk as I hear Leo's heavy footsteps down the hall. I swear there's a cut on my back, but I can't reach it. Fuck. Muttering under my breath, heart pounding in my chest. Just like 7 years ago when my mom caught me looking at gay porn. Leo walks in, the computer screen still hopelessly frozen. Can you help me get... Leo stops mid-sentence. I look back at him. The guilt in my face pretty damn obvious. Did you do? You know what? I try to stall and turn the back on. Clicking furiously on the X. Hey. The window disappears. What were you looking at? I swivel around in the chair, grinning. Nothing. My voice squeaked. Leo stares down at me, an exasperated smirk spraying across his muzzle. No, not nothing. What the hell were you looking at? Is there something I don't know about? I don't know. I feel like Chase took that the wrong way. I really don't feel like he's into you because of the fetish. I think Chase is taking that the wrong way. He keeps on staring at me, but I get up and pretend to stretch, moving towards the bed. Well, yeah, there's something you don't know about, but now I know about some things. Switch my tail behind me a few times, teasing him, but mostly I'm just relieved I didn't get caught. I don't think I care for Chase all that much. I hear him move, but before I can react, he's on me. He grabs my arms and shoves them behind my back, then shoves me forward, falling on top of me on the bed. I grunt loudly as his weight pushes the air out of my lungs. Looks like I'm going to have to get it out of you the old-fashioned way, Otter. I struggle a little, but there's no way in hell I'm getting out from under Leo if he wants me to stay there. Hey, get off! He clutches both of my wrists in one paw while he digs the other into my side. I gasp and writhe desperately. bouncing up and down on the bed while he pinches at my ribs. I can't take it anymore. All right, I was just searching your contacts to see if you were hooking up with anyone. Tickling stops and I'm left gasping for air while Leo just looks down at me, grinning. Oh, a little jealous, huh? Maybe a little. Huh. Leo looks genuinely happy about that. His paws spread out to either side of my head as he grins down at me. I take my chance and shoot my paws up to his sides, digging in. He yelps and curls up and falls on top of me again. I don't relent though, and keep wiggling my fingers around his body. Obviously he's letting me win, but it's still fun seeing him melt into a twitching pile of giggles. He rolls to the side of me and I get on top of him, pretending to wrestle him down like I'd done hundreds of times before. He playfully fights back, but he's grinning up at me with a dopey, tongue-out-of-the-muzzle expression. He reaches over me to turn on a small, complicated-looking fan on his bedside table, before flopping his other arm over his eyes. As I stare at the fan, I notice something else next to it, and gasp loudly. What? Is that a fucking gun? Oh, yeah. It's real? Yeah, of course. Turn my head to stare at him. Why? You just leave it out here in the open? I'd never thought of Leo as a gun person. From what he told me, he hated guns. Leo's arm moves under my neck, and I feel his paw come up and start brushing at the tuft of fur on my head with his thumb and index. I wish you'd style this again. When I had it spiked, that was stupid. I liked it. I feel myself dozing off as his fingers start brushing my forehead. I feel the coolness of his anchor bracelet through my fur. Sometimes I think I'm going crazy. I'm barely awake at this point. The fan blowing on my face. Leo stroking, feeling his warm body next to mine. I saw you here last week, outside my window. That registers as a little weird, so I come back out of my doze a little. Huh? Yeah, I just looked out and I saw an otter just standing there. Huh. You think it was just another otter? Well, Leo yawns and turns his head towards me, snuffling at my ear. There's only one other guy. Remember Dale? He's fat, though. Could have just been someone that was lost, right? Maybe. I went out and didn't see anyone. Well, sometimes people see things. His arm tightens around my head as he gives it a sort of hug. Hope I'm not seeing things now. I roll my eyes, but his words remind me of something. Just like a bad dream, I'll be gone when you wake. But I swear, even if this was fake, I'll never forget your face. I sing a few lyrics from one of our old emo songs. That's when I hear Leo snore, so I give into my pleasant drowse and sink slowly into sleep. Aww. But I mean, there's... Like, Chase is a piece of shit, obviously, but... Like... They're still sweet together. Nah, they're still sweet. Well, I don't think it's too weird. It's just like we're hanging out again. Nothing wrong with that. Sure, but making it about Carl is just weird. Maybe if his birthday was like next week, 2 weeks tops. Oh hush, Flynn. It'll just be like we're hanging out. You acting weird about it isn't going to help anything. Carl's house is as massive and immaculate as I remember it. It is a mansion after all. Wow. So, okay, rich parents. Leo just gets carried away a little when he has his heart set on something. He probably had the whole scene planned out in his head before we even got there. Mostly, I just feel really bad for him. He's been working really hard to make this trip interesting for all of us. I think it's all our fault more than anything that nothing's working out. Flynn's a dick. Carl doesn't care. Jenna's also kind of being a dick. And TJ's always into stuff that none of us are. And I'm just... boring. Hey, Flynn. I thought you went upstairs. Flynn doesn't seem surprised at all to find me out here, which makes me think he was looking for me. I did. Wasn't there, so I thought I'd look outside. Oh. Well, he's not in the back, so... I don't know why, but Flynn is making me feel awkward as hell. Is something wrong? Flynn folds his arm and leans up against the house. Carl's missing, so I guess that's a problem, huh? Yeah. Try to think of something to say. I'm sure he's just hiding somewhere, or maybe he's out at the diner. Probably just got tired of being stuck in his own house. Yeah. Straightens up again and steps forward. I don't know why, but I take a step back. You were hanging out with Leo yesterday, right? Yeah, for a little while. You spent the night there? Pause for a second to give him the hint that I'm not exactly okay with him prying like this, but I answer anyway. No. I got back to the motel at like 3. Did you? No, you didn't. You slept, you liar. Yeah. Start to turn back around. Why don't we check the base, Chase? He's got the same tone as a disappointed parent, and that kind of pisses me off. I turn back around. What? You realize what you're doing is stupid, right? Excuse me? Getting back with him during fucking spring break. Pretty stupid, right? I had a feeling that's where this was going, and now that I know for sure, I'm definitely pissed off now. How is that any of your business? How is it not? You two seem pretty okay with making it our business, right? No? He sneers at me. Cuddling up at the lake where our friend died is pretty messed up, isn't it? What? I saw you two. You know I did. So what? What does that have to do with Sydney? I guess I just find it weird that you'd start up your old flame on what's practically a grave. Jesus, Flynn! Just calm down or go away. I guess I was confused. Everyone's been telling me that I need to talk about it. But not like this. Not with just me here. We should all be together if we want to have this talk. Turn on again, making it clear that I'm leaving. Wait. Change of tone in his voice makes me turn around again. It's softer, almost pleading. I'm not used to hearing Flynn talk like this. I'm just trying to look out for you, Chase. He's not... I feel some of that anger returning. He's not what? He's not exactly a stable guy, is he? I laugh. And you are? He dips his head and I can tell he's embarrassed, even though he doesn't have the ears to tell me so. And not just you, all of us. We're all a little fucking crazy, aren't we? Flynn smiles a little bit. Well, that's what happens when you live in Echo. I mean, the way Flynn was acting all day. He really can't stand us anymore. Carl probably just feels the same way. I don't think so. Flynn's usually been that way, right? Not like that. Like the way he was talking to you earlier. So he did here. Guess you were right. I should have just left shit alone. We all used to fit together so well. But now we've all changed, and it's like we're bending ourselves to fit again. I guess that's just life, right? Leo grunts and keeps staring at the window. It's clear how much he wanted this all to work out. To give us the opportunity for one last hurrah before we separated for good. And now I'm actually pretty angry at myself and the others. This is our last chance to really say our goodbyes, and it's like we don't care at all. Jenna and TJ are off doing their own thing. Carl's getting lost and probably high. And Flynn's being Flynn. I lean forward, then grinning. You know, I'm really happy you planned all of this. Slowly, Leo shifts his attention from the sunset to my face. I smile widely for him. This is the most fun I've had all year, even though everyone's acting like a dick. I dip my head self-consciously. Including me, I know. But this whole thing has reminded me about a lot of good things in this town. And even though things have been kind of shitty, I think it's a good note to leave off on. Leo raises his brows. Because weren't things always shitty? It's part of the experience. Leo stares at me for a long time and I feel my grin start to fade. But then he reaches forward and rubs a thumb up my nose. I blink in surprise and he shows me the smear of white on his thumb pad. Sorry, it is hard to take you seriously looking at a cake head. At a coke head? Go fuck yourself. Yeah? Well, I'd tell you to do the same, but you've got a sister at home, don't you? Flynn moves fast, swinging a fist up and around towards Leo's jaw. Leo's ready for him and lunges to the side, though. The fist still glances at the side of his face. Grabs Clint's arm and yanks him down onto the table, which knocks over my milkshake and sends it splashing into my lap. Leaning back, he pulls out his keys to use the bottle opener on his keychain before handing it over to me. He does the same for himself and practically chugs the whole thing before grabbing another, even before I'm able to take my first swig. I don't comment on it, instead look out at the sunset, thinking about how nice it would be to just sort of run off into the wilderness. At least for a while. I lean back and sigh, noticing a white and brown splotch on the knee of Leo's jeans. What you said to Clint, that was pretty mean. Said some pretty mean stuff too. It's not like I like saying that shit to him. Seeing me lying back, Leo shifts closer to me, allowing me to rest my head against his thigh. Again, the familiar position probably isn't a good idea, but I just don't care. But does Clint still live with his dad? No, he went to prison 2 years ago. Really? Because of... yeah. Shit. We sit in silence, enjoying our quiet surroundings. As I lay there, I hear Leo open another bottle, then another. Finally, he lets out a big sigh. Oh, Chase, come back to Echo. I close my eyes, turning my vision blood red against the sunset. Maybe. Just not yet. He doesn't press the issue, instead reaching out for another bottle. By the time I get to my second one, the rest are gone. As we walk back to Leo's house in silence, he occasionally brushes his tail tip against my own. I let him. He's mildly drunk, so he's sort of excused for now. I do have to push his muzzle away when he leans up against me for some support after his feet hit a sudden dip in the road. It's hard to think of Leo as a bully, but the way he acted towards Clint at the diner was a bit much. If he can't take it, then maybe he shouldn't dish it, eh? Leo grins and sticks out a pot of kudzu, who glares, but nevertheless reaches down to help him up. Leo promptly pulls. I mean, Clint is in the wrong. Leo's in the right. Why the fuck is Kudza angry? This happens about 3 more times before Leo shakily, but more steadily approaches me from the darkness, a sheepish grin on his face. You okay? Yeah, just had a little too much? Oh. Really? The Leo I know could down 15 cans and still walk. Yeah, but he just fought, Chase. He just had a fight, Chase. Mr. Otter. Chase, you would let someone murder you because you'd be worried it would offend them, I'm beginning to think. Leo finally steps back and starts putting everything back into the first aid kit. Wait. Leo glances at me questioningly. Aren't you hurt? He thinks for a second. I don't think so. I feel fine, I mean. Turn around. I'd seen Clint hit Leo with a crowbar and he'd hit him hard. Leo sighs before finally turning around, placing his paws on the sink as he stares into the mirror. I look at his back, the black shirt dusty from the dirt he had rolled around in. Carefully, I lift the shirt up his back. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. I can see the raised fur from a growing welt where the crowbar had hit, though. There aren't any cuts there, but I do see some spots of dried blood. You have a bunch of little cuts. I see the smooth muscle under Leo's fur shift as he flexes them. Really? Must have been from the rocks in the road. I think my shirt came up a little while we were wrestling around. Give me the alcohol. Leo sighs again but hands it over. And take off your shirt. He smirks at that and slowly, purposefully, sensually strips his shirt off. Try to ignore him, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't turned on by his body. Ooh. It's been a long time since I last saw him shirtless, and he's kind of changed. He's thicker, broader in the shoulders and chest, the muscles smoother and a little more filled out. I swallow and start to dab the alcohol into the cuts. He makes no indication of feeling any pain, instead switching his tail around and flicking it up between my legs. Again, I don't know why, but Leo has a way of making you want to play along, even if you know it's a bad idea. He's been flirting with me this whole time, so I guess he's sort of just broken down my defenses. Once I finish rubbing in the alcohol, I let a paw linger on Leo's hip. We both stay like that for a while, until Leo finally turns around, leaning back against the sink. I look over his form, his broad chest down to his thick stomach. Like what you see. When I look back up at him, his brows are raised. And before I can say anything, he's leaning down. I think he's about to kiss me, so I turn my head to the side, but instead he just nuzzles the side of my head as he brings me in for a hug. I freeze for a second, but relax into his hold after a while, enjoying the feel of his warm fur against mine. He doesn't say anything, just holds me. I can feel his excitement through his pants as he presses into me, then starts nibbling at my ear. I gasp as he catches it between his teeth, and I almost moan. He, of course, knows I have sensitive ears. He moans a little in response, and before I know it, he's pulling me up against him. Then he lifts me off the ground and he spins around, around and sits me up on the sink. My head throbs again and I think I'm about to fall, but he holds on to me before he begins digging his muzzle into my neck, kissing and licking. I gasp and hug around his body, pulling him closer as he licks and nips. Leaning my throat back, I expose more of my neck to him, closing my eyes as the back of my head presses against the mirror. Leo growls, his paws sliding up under my shirt, feeling up my stomach before moving to my chest. Fucking hell. He moans it, sounding like he just scratched an unreachable itch, like he just had his first drink of water in days. Leo! I gasp, about to tell him to stop, but then his tongue burrows in past my fur to lick the skin of and my eyes roll. He pulls back finally, and I lower my gaze to meet his. His tongue is hanging out, making him look a little goofy. I can see a few of my short brown hairs on his tongue. He starts to lean in again, and this time I don't turn my head away. As he almost reaches me, his eyes suddenly flick to the right. Looking over my shoulder, and I see a shock cross his expression. Then he jumps and spins around, knocking over the soap dispenser and first aid kit. I jump too. What? Leo continues to stare, one paw clutching his chest, the other digging into my thigh. I wait for him to finish, but he doesn't go on. Did you see something? I thought I did. Just seeing things, I guess. Finally turns his attention to the first aid kit and leans over, starting to pick everything back up. Oh no, I want to keep that. I wanted it to keep going though. No! It starts with some good news from Flynn. Carl had been in the crawl space. According to him, it had been too hot to sleep anywhere but there. Really? Of course, that's fucking insane, but it's definitely something Carl might do. Is it? In better spirits, Leo suggests we go out to some burger joint, to which I agree. On the way, we chat about my project. So obviously I don't want to spend all of our time just having fun. You have a project to do after all. Yeah. And I'll remind him that most of this messing around has been his idea. Though we do need to hang out with TJ today, if that's okay. I promised him we would yesterday. He's been feeling kinda down, obviously. I look down at my sausage biscuit sandwich, the excess grease glistening in the sunlight shining through my window. I was thinking the park. Yeah, that sounds like fun. Do you have a library card? No. Wow, surprising. But I could sign up for one. Leo nudges me. Don't be bitter. I just want you to do a good job. I'm the one that went to college. I know what I'm doing. Leo laughs. You know, I wrote a study about college kids. A study? Sounds like something you wouldn't know about considering you didn't go to college. Right, anyway. It was about how college doesn't make you smart, just more liberal. Uh-huh. So is that a bad thing? Well, paying $20,000 a year to get indoctrinated just doesn't appeal to me. I frown. After doing a few panning shots along with the close-ups of the cars, I lean against an old freight car with my head back. I close my eyes against the heat. It's not almost noon, so it's almost impossible to find any good shade out here. For some reason, it's only now that I'm realizing how stupid it was to do this so early. The sunset would have looked a lot better, along with it being a lot cooler. Leo's been gone almost 20 minutes at this point. He said he was going to get some water bottles, but it's been a while. The sweat seeping into my shirt makes my skin crawl. After looking around, I peel it off and hang it up against a small metal ladder on the frame of one of the freight cars. I lean back against the exact same spot I was earlier, where it isn't burning hot, resume closing my eyes. I hear rustling through the grass on the other side of the car, but I keep my eyes closed. Leo, I think I'm gonna die. I'm not built for the heat. I wait, but he doesn't say anything. It's not Leo. Leo? Rustling starts up again, a long, slow drag through the dried vegetation. This time it sounds like it's coming from under the train. Leo? Finally I open my eyes and step away from the car, turning around to look at it like I can see through it. What are you doing? Obviously trying to scare me. Leo was never as subtle as Jenna, but he did his fair share of at least trying. I lean over to look under the car, glaring. You know, if you're trying... I met with emptiness under the car. Just dirt. Dead grass and rusted rails. Are there jump scares in this game? I'm like in a dark room right now. Was it some kind of animal? It sounded pretty big to be... Chase! Fuck! Heavy paw slams on my shoulder and I jump as Leo shouts right next to my head. I stumble forward, but he grabs me up, laughing. Holy shit, I've never seen you jump that hard before. Normally I'd be pissed, but that built up just had me glad it was Leo. How the hell did you do that? Do what? That whole setup you did. Well, you see, first I take my hand and slap it on your shoulder. No, the whole walking around behind me and making that dragging sound in another car. Huh? He looks confused. I frown. I guess it would have been kind of impossible for someone Leo's size to sneak around like that without me seeing him. Did you hear something? Leo mimics my earlier position and bends over to look into the train. Yeah, but there wasn't anything there. I thought you were trying to scare me. Well, I was, but I didn't do that. Probably some animal or something. I must still look a little unnerved because Leo sits a hand on my shoulder. Well, I'm here now, so don't worry. His eyes drift down to look at my torso. Damn, you've kept in shape. Well, better shape. Aha, you can see my torso. I smirk, rubbing his shoulder. Swimming every day helps. Leo rubs my shoulder, grinning. You look good. You always say that. And I always mean it. Well, thanks. Aw, supportive boyfriend wolf. I've gotten to the point where I've just stopped pretending that there isn't at least something still there between us. There is! There is something there between you! Stop denying it! I think I've stopped pretending that nothing's gonna happen on this trip, eventually. What really worries me is what will happen after. Leo, meanwhile, slides his hand over my stomach. Not that I'd care if you'd gained any weight. That happens, but I like you this way. Yeah, it happens. I only hesitate for a moment. I slide my own hand under his shirt. Leo makes a soft gasping noise as I press it up against his stomach. His ears fold back, though he keeps a grin on his face. Being a wolf makes it harder, you know. I believe you. As if to try and convince me he hasn't really gained weight, he flexes his abs, flattening the soft fur of his stomach against my palm. Steel wrapped in velvet. Oh. Leo just... But you know I'm into that. I get the urge to adjust my pants so my dick isn't jamming so uncomfortably into the crotch. But I don't want to make it that obvious that I'm aroused. You mind feeling some other part of me? You're making me feel fat. I giggle before I slide my hand up his torso. Ooh. This exposes more of his white stomach all the way up to his chest, and I can feel his pounding heart. That better? Leo just gives a breathy, laughing exhale as he lets me feel him. He settles closer, resting both of his hands on my waist. I feel his peck with my hand as I thumb through his fur to find the nipple underneath, feeling it harden in response. Leo shudders and grins at me. I think this place does things to us, Chase. Remember our first kiss? This isn't the exact spot. Was it really 6 years ago already? I sigh, then slip both my hands under his shirt and wrap them around his waist, burying my face in his chest. Leo hugs back as he starts to nibble at my ears, which makes me gasp. Hey, can't we just enjoy the moment? Leo giggles. I am. I look up at him and I'm not sure if I just run into it, but we kiss. It's a small peck, but then Leo puts his hands behind my head and pushes me deeper into the kiss. He opens his muzzle to clamp around mine, his warm tongue pressing up against my lips. I'm still for a moment, and so is he, waiting for me to respond. When I do, it's with my paws around his back, me kissing back. A soft crack to my right makes me jerk my head from the kiss to look over. Come on! Come on! Get out of here, Kudzu! Yeah, it's just that I feel bad for everyone else. What happened yesterday, I think it affected everyone. No way. I had a great time with Leo yesterday. Wasn't sad at all. Realize that statement makes me look like a total asshat, but TJ just nods as Leo parks the car. I had a good time. I'm having fun. God, Chase. He stops though, about 10 feet away, and points at me. Hey, I know you. I'm at a loss for what to say. He's wobbling back and forth, his eyes wide open. Your name? There's an awkward pause as I try to determine whether or not he's asking a question. My name? Chase? Why did I tell him that? Some guy was trying to hop on one, like way back then. That's how people would get around. This guy was trying to hop on this train here when it was leaving the station, but he missed jumping on. But sits down in the dry and dusty weeds and spreads his legs out over the rails. He falls down like this, and it runs over his legs. Clint brings both hands down in chopping motions over his thighs. Blood goes everywhere, and yeah, he's dead, right? I really don't know, Chase. If I had to say, I think it would be the drugs. The drugs? Mm-hmm. Whatever he's taking, it's pretty hardcore. I mean, he's a goddamn skeleton now, right? Yeah. But it's not like I'm responsible for it. I just treat him like he treats everyone else. I open my mouth, hesitate, then finally ask what's been bothering me. When we were younger, would you say that you bullied him? Leo frowns. What's bringing all of this up? Nothing. I'm just curious is all. Leo starts to smooth down the fur on his head, all poofed out from his shower. I mean, I wasn't nice to him, of course, but he was an asshole to everyone else. Like I said, I did to him what he did to others. We eat in a slightly awkward silence. By the time I'm almost finished, I'm feeling a little nauseous. Ugh, not to be rude, but do you always eat this stuff? I think I dislike Chase more and more throughout the game. Huh? He looks up with a mouthful of mashed potatoes. This microwavable dinner stuff. He swallows loudly. Yeah, you don't like it? He lowers his ears again, looking embarrassed. It's fine, I mean, it's just sad. I look at him sheepishly. You little fucker, I get better food sometimes. This is just easier. Yeah. Chase is such an asshole. Hey, I gotta throw away my tray. It's full of gross TV dinner water. Leo nuzzles into my neck. Put it on the floor. Ew, gross. You can throw it away when I'm ready to get up. Since when do you decide when I can or can't get up? Since you decide to mouth off to me. Now you're the ones that's gonna be cooking all of my meals and cleaning up my house, Chula. I shiver and he responds by spooning me tighter. Clearly Leo's gauged that I'm past the point of resisting at this point. In my little vacation, and he's taking advantage of it. Estoy loco por ti. I don't know what that means. He rolls the R. Oh. Okay. Definitely taking advantage of it. We're both too tired to do anything more, which is probably for the best. And within a few minutes, I've passed out. Oh. Friday. I hear a soft whine coming from in front of me, and I lower the book to find Leo draped across the table on his chest. He's looking at me with huge puppy eyes. Can't help but smile because it's so fucking adorable, even for a wolf as big as him. What? I have a project to do, remember? Yeah, I know, but we've been here for 3 hours now. You should take a break. I look at the time and I'm shocked that he's actually right. How the hell did that happen? Well, I guess that's a good idea. I was just finding some really interesting stuff. I'm sure that project of yours is going to turn out awesome. He grins and stands up abruptly, grabbing my book up as well so I couldn't continue to read. Let's go get some lunch. It's already almost 3. Alright, did you want to go to the diner? You want to eat there? Well, it's been a few days. I'd like to catch up with the others, you know. I know that's what you wanted to do. Actually, everyone's busy. I already tried. Oh, really? What are they doing? Well, Flynn's working. TJ and Jenna are on a hike, and Carl's asleep. Oh. Doesn't really seem like Leo to just blow off meeting up with everyone. But I guess at this point in the trip, he's just tired of trying. I know I would be. Aww. Probably just to show me up after what I said last night. Leo takes me to a semi-fancy steakhouse. Fuck yeah. Wow, it's really nostalgic being here. Isn't it? Leo looks off towards the sunset, and I can see him getting glassy-eyed. Is it weird that, if I could, I'd go through high school again? I think for a moment. Not really. I'd like to do it. I made a lot of mistakes. Well, not really because of that. More like it was a lot of fun. I just wanted to experience it all again. I grin at him. Hey, you're talking like you peaked in high school. Did I? The question catches me completely off guard, and my stumbling around for words that follows doesn't help. No, he sighs. Leo, you've got a good paying job, your own house, a pretty damn good life. You're doing better than most. He laughs a little. I guess I just don't feel like it, you know. Why not? He leans back. Well, I don't really feel as good as I did back then. When I think of high school or even further back. Man, those were the good days. I think about how completely inverse I am to that. How my life improved exponentially after I left the town. Well, you know, if you keep looking back, I don't think you'll ever be happy. Oh. He looks so sad. I wrap an arm around his shoulders, which is a little difficult considering how broad they are. Because 5 years from now, you'll probably look back on this era of your life and think, man, I wish I could go back. You're probably right. Let's just enjoy now. Fuck. Leo sighs again and looks straight down at me, meeting my eyes. Chase? Yeah? He pauses, looking off to the side before turning his eyes back on mine. I love you. I immediately look away. Chase, please. Please just come back. I miss you so much, every day. I stare out across the field, not able to meet his eyes again. I'll stop smoking. I'll stop picking on Clint. I'll get rid of the gun. Just please come back. I don't know, Leo. You know how I don't like it here. And I feel like I should keep my options open. To find a good job, a good place to live. Just for a year or two. While you're getting on your feet, I'll give you a place to stay. That sounds great, Leo. But to get back together, that's like setting ourselves up for another breakup, and I don't want to do that. But then we'd know for sure, without parents or school in the way. It'll just be us, and then, even if it doesn't work out, there's some closure there. For the first time, I feel myself seeing things from Leo's point of view. I'm not necessarily losing by at least trying. Yes, you know you're not. Do it! Do it! And he's right. There really wasn't any closure. Mostly because of me. Leo must sense my indecision because he immediately presses forward. And I'll be making enough to support you while you figure things out. I don't want to mooch. I don't mind. I just want you to be comfortable so you can do what you want to do. But Echo... Leo's quiet for a while. A long while before he finally speaks up. Now that I can't fix... But I guess one way to decide is to weigh what's more important to you. You're asking me to choose. I'm not asking that exactly. Leo glances at me. But if I did... So you are. Doesn't say anything. But my mind starts wandering over the years we'd spent together. Despite how much we fight, there's no question in my mind what the answer is, and it hits me like a thunderbolt. Choose you. All at once, his face explodes into a grin. So much happiness in one expression that I don't think I'd ever be able to take back what I just said, even if I wanted to. And instantly I'm wrapped up in a tight, warm hug, one that crushes the air from my lungs. Oh my god, Chase, I love you so fucking much. Hey, but you've still got a year of school left, so we're gonna have to get back into contact. And we're gonna have to exchange... I clasp his muzzle shut with my hand around it. And he just stares back at me with wide eyes. I didn't even say yes. I take my hand away from his mouth. Well, what'd you say? I look again towards the sunset, past the concrete bleachers and goalposts, in the direction of Echo, and take a deep breath. Look back at Leo. Yes. And then he's kissing me. It's not rough like it was at the train yard. His mouth stays closed, but he holds my head gently, and it's like he's trying to pour all of his love into me through just his lips. As ridiculous as it might sound, I can feel it. Slowly, he starts to lick down the length of my body, starting with my chest, then down to my stomach. He pauses to snuffle and tease against my navel, before his mouth finally closes around me. My eyes roll back as I clutch into the sheets, arching my back. I'm somewhat surprised that it's Kudzu filling the silence between us. Not that I mind. Ooh. I didn't know how to feel about this song at first, but it's growing on me. Needed to take a piss. I know my house is right there, but peeing outside is liberating. I mean, I guess I can agree. Speaking of which, I'm gonna go do that. He pauses. I can do it in front of the pump if you'd like for effect. Straight in front of me is the meadow. In the meadow is a dead tree. One with dry, gnarled branches that twist up into the sky. The tree itself would be eerie enough, but it's what's under it that stops me dead. It takes a moment to comprehend what I see. Hanging from the lowest branch is a body. Long and thin, emaciated down to the skeleton. I remain rooted to the spot, my mouth hanging open. Disgustingly, my mind immediately goes to the camera. I don't know why. Yeah, showing footage of a dead body to the whole class. Either I'd get an A for being edgy or I'd fail for showing a fucking dead body. Probably expelled, actually. I feel my stomach starting to turn and I'm finally able to take my first step back. But then it moves. It's a quick jerk. One of the skeleton's hands reaching up spasmodically to its neck before slumping back down. With my eyes fully adjusted to the sun now, I recognize the color of the fur. The build of that skeleton-like body. Clint? On unsteady feet, I manage to stumble forward and reach out towards the ringtail, aiming to at least hold him up until I can shout Kudzu over to help. Somehow, though, he's able to spin and face me, his face an expression of mortified fury. His eyes are almost glowing with how bloodshot they are, and his twisted muzzle is covered in drool, leaking down his chin and onto his chest. Get back. Leave. What? Clint, what the hell are you doing? I move forward again, but Clint lashes out with a foot, hitting me in the knee. That's when I see his toes are touching the ground, at least barely. I stare in confusion and look back up to meet Clint's furious eyes. Fucking leave! Spit flies from his muzzle as I take a step back, completely at a loss for words. I don't... Later on, I finally get another text from Leo, just before my phone dies. Heading back. I'm hungry. We should meet at the diner. Sure. Hell yeah. Oh, I saw a reflection of me. That was cool. That's a good little detail.
That's pretty neat.
The town will be a lot less empty if I can hang around with someone like Kudzu after I move here. Especially when Leo's not around. Yeah, good. Good. I glance at my dead phone, reminded of the complete lack of text from anyone other than Leo. I suppose this is life. Sometimes things are buried and never talked about again. And in a way, I guess that's for the best. Sydney's death will die with us. It just sucks that we all carry it, but can't rely on each other for support. Chula! I smile as he sweeps up to my side, leaning down to smooch me on the cheek. He starts groping me too, his hands sliding under my shirt. Leo? What? There's no one here. I turn in time to see Janice moving from behind the counter, as the swinging door gently closes. Something's wrong. Janice had been acting strange all week, gradually looking more haggard and pissed off as time went on. Of course, I hadn't forgotten what had happened on the side of the road a few days back. But I'd been content with just assuming it had been some type of drug-fueled adventure of hers. Now I'm convinced she's having a mental breakdown. Her fur is mussed up on every inch of her body. Her eyes are wild and wide, similar to how I'd seen Clint earlier. Blood is smeared across her apron, and the handle of a knife sticks out of the front pocket. Janice, are you okay? Leo's half standing. I'm not sure if it's because he's afraid of her or of her. For her or of her. She doesn't say anything and she settles up next to our booth. I slide a bit towards the inside. Why is this chill music still going on? Under her wild gaze, I'm feeling a little trapped. Janice? Sorry about that, boys. We're a little short on workers today. Like the chef? He's the only other employee as far as I know. Hey Janice, what are you cooking back there? I glance at the crazy coyote as she wobbles over to us, staring at the milkshake with wide eyes. Oh, you know, meat. Leo lets out a hollow laugh. Haha, what kind of meat? Be honest with you, it's a bit tough and stringy. I lose interest in their conversation and instead look back at it. Is Janice cooking the chef? Don't think those fuckers are behind all this? You've been seeing that otter around too, haven't you? I'm not concerned with that anymore. I've made things right. What did you do? You're not fucking concerned that what happened to our grandparents is happening to us? I won't ask you to leave again. Her voice is threatening. From this angle, I can't see her hands, but I can see she's reaching for something. My God. Chase, get down. Leo's voice is bizarrely calm, but as he reaches over to me, I can feel him shaking. He presses down on my shoulder, and as I'm about to slide under the table, I see Janice move forward, then turn my head and cower against the booth under the table. Leo shouts and yanks me up against his side, covering me with his arms. I hear him breathe heavily into my ear, and I stare wide-eyed from under the booth, only able to see the dirty beige wall up opposite us. Leo's breathing is all I can hear, otherwise it's silent. Then I hear Duke muttering something under his breath, followed by soft, padding footsteps. A few seconds later, his legs come into view, and his feet turn in to face us. I see the gun dangling from one hand before he raises it slightly, pointing it at us. I have no idea how long Duke will be distracted, so I dive behind the counter for my closest exit. Don't look back, Chase. Go as fast as you can. Shit is getting away, Brian. I push past the swinging door and immediately slip. One moment I'm standing and the next I'm laying on the ground, face stinging from the smacking of the tile. I stare blaringly at the ground, forcing myself to move again, but it's still so slippery. First I think the tiles are just red, but when the overpowering metallic scent hits my nose I realize it's more than that. Blood is everywhere, and now I'm covered in it. I sob, wondering when the nightmare I'm in is gonna end, when the paralysis will hit me. And then I'm standing over the counter, and over what's on top of it. A pile of meat. She did! I can see the fur, but it's a mound of unrecognizable parts. She fucking butchered the chef! Something cooks on the stove. My stomach turns and I heave, but there's nothing in me to come up. A bang behind me forces me to turn my right. To see the mountainous form of Brian charge at the door. He slips immediately, but his mountainous form still takes him forward and reaches out for me. Next thing I know is that I've been hit by a car and I'm flying back. I stop short of hitting the ground thanks to the wall behind me, and my head explodes. The air is cool now, and my skin is cold and wet, like I've been sweating a lot. The feeling is especially strong along my back, and I want to roll over, but I can't. Something is holding my arms down, and there's a rattling sound when I try to move. Jesus. At first, all I see is a blur of colors above me, and I have to blink a few times to clear it. Slowly, the image comes together, and I'm able to make out that someone is there above me. I feel my blood run cold, realizing that someone has been watching me this whole time. But I'm lying down. How is someone on the ceiling? I try to speak, but only a dry, crackling squeak comes out of my throat. At this point, my vision has cleared enough to make out an otter. Jesus. An otter? I squint. A blue shirt, beige pants. I gasp and reflexively try to draw back from the thing. Is it me? It smiles. It's missing my goatee. How? The flat surface I'm lying on tilts precariously and my stomach lurches. I try to clutch at the surface, though there's nothing to grab onto. I shut my eyes and gag as I feel my stomach swirling around inside me. All I can do is pray for it to stop, feeling like everything around me is about to fall over. The ache in my head is magnified tenfold and tears start to leak from my eyes. Just when I think I'm about to slip off the face of the earth, the ground starts to tilt back the other way. I swallow and gasp for air, my entire body shaking and sweating all over again. I feel like I've been swimming too long and my body's exhausted. What the hell is going on? I remember that someone was staring down at me from the ceiling and opened my eyes again, fearful. Jesus. Yoda that's clearly wearing the same clothes. That's a mirror. I'm really convinced I got some kind of bad ending. Jesus fucking Christ. Kudzu drops out of view again. Brian heaves a I don't have long to collect myself because Brian is pulling a foot back to kick me. Shut up! I roll aside and start trying to back away while I'm crouched, but Brian yanks me up by my arm, my head jerking back with the force. Now I'm starting to wonder if Kudzu ended up leaving. If that's the case, then I'm definitely dead, because there's no way I'm gonna break his grasp. As I'm thinking this, the door bangs open. Brian is in the middle of drawing his fist back when it happens, and he freezes, looking over at the door. Kudzu stands there, his eyes wide behind his black mask, chest heaving. He's scared, I can tell. But Brian's shot gives me the opening I was looking for. I reach in between his legs and grab his balls. Weirdly enough, the first thought I have is about how fucking big it is. It takes both my hands to wrap around it and fully, and when I do, I twist and yank down as hard as I can. Oh, I pour all my fear and anger into the attack, snarling as I do. The scream that Brian lets out is so high-pitched I feel like every glass in the trailer is going to explode. This attack is all I have left, so when his retaliation comes, I can't do anything to defend myself. Luckily, it's not a punch or a kick. Rather, he grabs the fur on the back of my head, along with my shirt, and tries pulling me back. My face stretches back as I stubbornly hold on and just yank down even harder. His sack is stretched and distorted so badly it's barely even recognizable as balls. His screaming suddenly cuts off with the sound of a deep, sickening smack. Immediately, Brian's body crumples onto me as he falls to his hands and knees. I don't remember much about the walk back to Kudzu's house aside from stilted flashes of dirt. What about, where's Leo? Where's Leo? Should we walk to my car or something and drive to Peyton? I look back out the pitch black window. We need to tell someone right now. Janice and Leo is still out there. There's no way Janice hasn't been found by now. There should be police everywhere. Where are the cops? I turn back to Kudzu, feeling sick again. Kudzu doesn't say anything. He's got a strange look on his face, like he's trying to figure out how to tell me something. Finally, he stands up. I'll figure something out. Listen, I think you need to get some rest. I frown. But we need to get someone out here. What if Brian comes after me? I shrink in on myself at the thought, feeling goosebumps erupt over my arms. Kudzu steps close to me and awkwardly reaches out to put a hand on my shoulder. You'll be fine. Do you want to lay down in my bed? I don't say anything, my head's still trying to catch up. It's a waterbed. Kudzu adds as if that makes the offer more tempting. So yesterday, about noon, is when I saw some weird stuff going on. Kudzu looks at me. Your friend TJ. He came kind of jogging up the road. My mind flashes back to when I saw TJ running past the diner. Yeah, I, just ditched all of my friends, didn't I? I mean, granted, to fix things with Leo, but I, just ditched all of them to just, deal with their own shit, didn't I? He said someone was after him, and that he needed to leave. He talked to you? Where is he? I feel the fur prickling up all over my body. The thought that TJ might be out there, somewhere in the chaos, is terrifying. How could someone like him survive that? I'm certainly doing a terrible job. I don't know. He asked me if I had a car, but I don't, so he kept up the road. He was just gonna take your car and leave? Ugh. This is the next day? Wait a minute. This is the final day, isn't it? We arrived Sunday, didn't we? Oh my god. And that ain't half of it. Houses afire, people eating each other. You think I'm crazy for shooting Janice, but if you knew. But how the hell are we supposed to know why that is? Leo leans forward as far as his bonds let him, eyes wide, almost pleading with Duke. This started when you got here. Duke lowers his voice dangerously, leaning back towards Leo, their noses almost touching. That doesn't mean shit. Leo speaks haltingly back at the weasel. Does this? Duke suddenly pulls the gun from the waistband of his pants and points it straight at my face. Where's Kudzu? What is he doing? I'm barely able to comprehend it before Brian jumps to the side with me, out of the way of the gun. For Christ, Duke, don't point at me! Leo almost stands up on his toes with the chair still attached to his body, fur bristled out all over his body. So I don't know what it is. If it's murder or guilt, or not catching someone that did wrong. I hear the softest sound of a footpad against the floor behind me and pray that none of the others did. But it started when you got here, so you gotta forgive me for wondering if one of you did something bad. Duke starts to raise a gun again. And brought that guilt back to this poisoned land to grow the seeds again. You see it happen. No, but the person that did wouldn't ever do that. I look over at Leo again, swallowing hard. Who was it? Duke starts to raise the gun again. What happens over the course of the next minute is fast for me to comprehend until it's over. Leo explodes out from his sitting position, face twisted with rage as he bares his teeth in a full-on wolf snarl. Though his feet are handcuffed to the legs of the chair, he's still able to lunge off the ground with his feet. He launches himself at Duke, slamming into the weasel with a painful crunch of flesh on flesh and metal on concrete. I gasp and watch as Leo starts ripping into Duke with his teeth. Duke screams and flails his arms around, apparently forgetting his weapon as it flies from his fingers. Because no one's fighting over Duke's gun, I realize that might be my best chance. I lunge in the opposite direction. Clumsily, I scoop up the weasel's gun, turning it over in my hands until I'm holding it the right way. Brian, my gun! Leo's still tearing away at the weasels as Duke holds them up in defense. I turn around, crouch back against the wall as I see Brian standing over a downed Kudzu. I can only pray that he hasn't killed him. I point the gun at Brian just as he turns around to face me. Seeing that he's about to get shot, the bear lunges at me, his massive paws up, stretching out towards me. Luckily for me, the gun is loaded. Trying to keep myself steady, I manage to find the safety and flick it off. I shoot him right in the face. Yeah! The sound is so loud in the tiny room that my hearing goes out for a moment. Brian crumples to the floor and the room goes quiet, but only for a moment. An earthly howling sound comes from the bear as he slowly props himself up on his hands. What? For a moment I wonder if the evil powers of Echo have brought him back to life somehow. But no, there's a bloody hole just above his blunt nose, and I can see the white of bone peeking through the red. Oh, somehow the bullet hadn't even pierced his skull. Keep shooting! Brian rolls away, and with speed that shouldn't be possible for a bear his size, he's gone. I stare for a moment, wondering if I should run after him, but a snarl next to me as he has me pointing the gun at Duke instead. Leo's still tearing into his arms as Duke hollers at the top of his lungs, trying to cover his face. Leo, stop! I've got the gun on him! Leo looks at me with his wild eyes, pausing for a moment before slowly letting go of the mucilid's arms, bloody drool hanging from his chin. Yeah, whatever. Leo grabs him by his bloodied arms before yanking him violently to his feet. The weasel screams doubles as the wolf twists those arms around his back, handcuffing them. Why the hell do you have so many handcuffs anyway? Duke starts sobbing again until Leo whips him around and slaps him across the face. Duke sways, stunned by the power of the blow, before Leo brings the hand back and hits him on the other cheek. Shut the fuck up! Leo. Leo ignores Kudzu as he pulls the chair back up and throws Duke into it so violently it almost tips over. I just wanna... No, Duke, shut the fuck up. I told you something bad's happening and we need to figure out what. Yeah, but how did kidnapping us help anything? Duke sighs deeply and I glance over my shoulder to see him slumping in defeat. Last time this happened, it might have been caused by a murder. Not the murder, but that the guy got away with murder. There's a moment of silence. Okay. Leo's tone demands that Duke go on. So the guilt from the guy, or the worry in the town, or just spirits, heck, I don't know. Maybe I'm giving him Kudzu's voice. Problem with your theory is that Chase hasn't killed anyone. Right, Chase? Of course not. Of course not. The fuck? Kudzu gazes down at me for a moment. And for a moment I'm left staring into his deep, dark eyes. That's when the sound of feet slapping against asphalt breaks the spell and Kudzu looks behind himself. What the hell? Duke just, Whoa. I find myself held up in Leo's arms. What the fuck happened? Leo desperately looks me up and down as he holds me in his arms. Did he shoot you? What? No, he just hit me with a car. Yeah, that sounds so much better. I see Leo's eyes widen, his ears shoot out. He suddenly turns his attention on Kudzu, hackles raised. Oh, what the fuck were you doing, Kud? Why weren't you watching him? Kudzu flinches back and glares. He came out of nowhere, Leo. We were both trying to stop him. I can see Leo working himself up to shout something else, but that's when I push myself out of his strong grip. Despite the circumstances, I'm bristling at the way I'm being coddled. Leo, he was driving a fucking car. There wasn't anything he could do. Now standing, I feel an achy sensation in my back, and my head spins a little. I brace my hands on my knees and wait for it to subside. I don't think you should be standing up so soon. I'm fine. Though now that I'm standing, I'm not completely sure of that. And sure, we're all fucked up right now, but the way the wolf's been acting, it's like he's a different person. Leo lets his hand slide down his face so he can peer at me over his fingertips. He examines me for a while, then finally reaches out with both hands. Come here, Chula. I almost hesitate, and I'm not sure why. I walk over to him and stand in front of the wolf before he reaches out and pulls me down into his lap. Then he presses my head against his chest before wrapping his arms around me. He starts stroking the back of my neck gently, and it makes me shiver. It all feels a little forced, and we don't meld together naturally like we always used to. I'm sorry about letting all this happen. I should have told the police when Duke started threatening earlier. You know what's happening? Leo takes in another breath, and his broad chest swells against my cheek before he blows it out, ruffling the fur on my head. I don't know. I really don't. Then this skin on the inside of his ears flushes. Can I take a shower? Leo pauses, clearly not having expected that. Well, we really need to get going. Don't you want to get home and take a shower there? TJ has put the blanket back over himself, trying to hide his pants. Oh, I'd just like to feel clean again. I feel like it might be a good thing for him to clean off. Maybe have some alone time. I give Leo a meaningful look as I lower my voice gently for TJ. Sure, man. We'll wait. TJ slowly pushes himself off the bed to stand on unsteady legs. Both of his hands not so subtly shield his crotch as he walks to the dresser. Okay, just don't leave, okay? We won't. Leo's still using his talking to a toddler voice. The wolf gives me a frustrated look, but I ignore it. What? Okay, come on, Leo. This doesn't make sense. TJ's one of the most rational people I know. How is this affecting him? You don't know what's causing it, though. I don't know. I thought it was drugs or something. They all just took the same drug? I don't know. Or maybe they're all crazy because of drugs and something set it off? Well, TJ is religious. So if he believes in that, then maybe it could go further than that. I shake my head. No, that doesn't make sense. People in cults do it all the time. But he's not in a cult. It's all kind of the same thing if you think about it. I mean, he's got a point. Our whole family is super religious, Leo. Yeah, so I have first-hand experience with all of it. Leo chuckles despite the situation. It makes me wonder if this is something more than what's in everyone's head. If even TJ's having it happen. When we finally do get there, Leo jogs up to his van, shoving a hand into his pocket. But then he freezes and oh no. Fuck. Me and TJ arrive next to Leo, and TJ finally lets go of my hand. What is it? I ask, but I see the problem, and at the same time I do. The two tires that I can see are brutally slashed and completely flat. God damn it. I'd bet that the other two are in the same way. Leo puts his hands up to his face, rubbing his eyes vigorously with his palms. Oh, who did that? TJ reaches out and grasps my hand again. Kuju moves over to the side of the van to inspect it. Brian. Yeah, I was seeing things too. People chasing me. I'm okay now, though. I don't know why I'm giving TJ like that super child voice, but at this point I'm just keeping it. I watch the desert whip by us, for the first time feeling somewhat safe as the town disappears behind us. But of course, it doesn't last long. What's that? On the side of the road there. Hmm? Leo turns his head in the direction that Kudzu points, we all do. What we see changes everything for me from that point on. Sure, things were crazy, and I had a hard time believing anything was happening, but it was explainable. People like Duke, Brian, TJ, even Carl were all seeing things. But it was kind of a distant thing in a way. Something everyone else was experiencing. Something I was exempt from. But now, there it is. Something I can't explain right in front of me. What is that? Oh my gosh. TJ covers his mouth. Carl sits up straight, trying to see. Leo slows down as we pass. There's my car, all of the windows shattered. And there's Duke, lying a dozen feet away from the open door of the driver's side. And there, crouching over him, is something I can't explain. What the fuck? Hairless, body and limbs long, way too long. The head comes up and all I see are 3 holes in blood. TJ screams next to me and Leo shouts something before stepping on the gas, slamming me back into my seat. I try to look back, but whatever it is was gone. At least, it's gone from where it was, because I see something move next to my window, and I turn to face it, and it stares back at me. But only for a moment. That thing, whatever the fuck it is, disappears almost the instant I register that it's there. I'm only staring out into the blackness of the desert. Still, 3 holes, 2 eyes, and a mouth blink back at me in a sort of after image before that too vanishes. What was that? What was that? TJ's grabbing my arm, claws digging painfully into my skin. I'm too shocked to even pull away as TJ leans forward next to me, staring out my window. At least I know I'm not the only one that saw it. TJ squeaks again when no one answers him. What was it? I don't know. Some kind of animal, maybe. I've never seen anything like that before.
Could have had a disease. Lost all of its fur or something. Maybe Duke hit it.
But it was walking! TJ's arm is looped around mine and I can feel his body shaking. I look over my shoulder, through the back window. At this point, my car is a good distance away, only visible because the headlights are on. A streak of light fading across the desert. Duke, is he? Oh my god. Oh. Are you okay, Chase? TJ's arms are still around mine, the places where our fur is pressed together getting hot and sweaty. I don't mind though, as long as it brings him some comfort. Yeah, I'm just tired. Actually, now that I mention it, I am pretty tired. I didn't exactly get much sleep in Kudzu's trailer, or Brian's. I start to drift off as my head bumps gently against the headrest, the soft whir of the AC on my forehead. What the fuck? The car lurches as Leo slows us down again. Reluctantly, I open my eyes, half expecting to see some other kind of nightmarish ghoul out the window. Did we go in a loop? But I don't see anything, just the road stretching ahead of us. What's wrong? Leo's quiet for a moment. I can't see his face since I'm right behind him, but I can see the outline of his twitching ears. I don't. Leo turns in his seat, looking out the passenger window, then his own. I'm heading the right way, right? I look out the window as well, not seeing anything except sagebrush and cacti. But then I do notice something. The mountains. We're on a loop. The mountains, which had been on the right, are now on my left, rising up ominously in the distance. Had we turned around somehow? I stare out my window, watching the mountains move slowly by under the moonlight as we turn into Lake Emma Road. I'm wondering if taking one of the mountain roads out of town would be worth it, whether we'd have enough gas when it happens. I don't like that. A crouched figure sits on the peak of a hill, just about 50 feet from where we are. I squint at it, just barely able to make out what looks like shoulders and a head hunched under the light of the moon. I'm directly across from the thing when I open my mouth. But I'm barely able to make a sound when it moves. It dashes down the hill in the blink of an eye, covering the distance between it and our car in a matter of 2 seconds. One moment I'm staring at a tiny black figure, and the next is right up against the car, smashing into the side between Leo's door and mine. My head smacks into the glass and I see a flash of white. At the same time, I hear Kudzu shout at us to hold on. TJ screams, Carl yells. Jesus. My feet are fucking freezing. I open my eyes and stare down at them. It's almost too dark to see, but I can hear the sounds of sloshing water and screaming. Chase! Chase! Ugh. My head aches and there's something in my eyes that stings. Everything's blurry. Chase, are you okay? A big paw prods at my chest and I look up. I can barely make out the outline of ears. Leo? Wait. And it hits me like the car crash we were just in. That thing! I look out my window again, but it's all shattered and spiderwebbed. But I can see what looks like water pouring through it. At the same time, I feel that icy cold sensation running down my back as the water comes through. Oh, it comes through the broken back window like a waterfall. We crash into the fucking lake. Chase! Oh my god. I'm awake, I'm good. I grab at my seatbelt, taking way longer than it should to get it undone. All the while, there's a bizarre feral yowling sound next to me. And I don't realize it's TJ until his claws find my chest and arm and dig in. Ow, TJ, stop, calm down! But he doesn't even respond, continuing on that god-awful sound. Through the window! Carl's already up on the rear deck, trying to push through the water coming in. Come on! It's a little awkward to undulate my body into a nice clean swim with TJ's weight, but I managed it well enough, and within seconds we break the surface. I breathe out into the air while TJ coughs and sputters. His arms wrap around my neck tightly, and I have to put a paw under his arm to keep him from strangling me. TJ, we're good. You're good. Calm down. I look around and I'm amazed to see how far we are from the shore. It's a good 100 yards away. I can already see Kudzu standing there, and Leo's in the shadows, shouting to Carl, who's a few feet or further in, splashing around. Wait, Leo, Clint hasn't done anything to hurt us since this started. Just, everyone's gone fucking crazy. Might as well get rid of him before he gets a chance at it, too. Whoa. What are you doing, Leo? Leo gets a hardened look on his face that I don't recognize at all. I mean, I can kind of see where he's coming from. Clint is kind of just a small duke in a way. So he's just super fucking paranoid. So how'd it go? You were in there for a while. Kudzu sighs and leans against the wall of the hallway, looking back at the closed door. I don't know, really. Said something about a train going through here the past few days after everything started. Through the rail yard? That's what he says. Huh. That didn't make much sense. That rail yard has been abandoned for the past at least 50 years. Are you sure he isn't just like the rest of us, seeing things? Kudzu shrugs. I really don't know. Hard to tell with a guy like him. Yeah. Well, I remember some guys inspecting the rails a few weeks ago. Maybe they opened one up again? Leo looks up the hallway toward the bedroom, and I'm starting to not like the look in his eyes again. In fact, I'm wondering why the fuck we left him in the room alone in the first fucking place. Leo starts to show his teeth. I reach out and rest a paw on the wolf's arm, again feeling the tensing of the muscles underneath the fur. Hey, don't worry about it. But he jerks his arm away and suddenly turns on me. Oh, why the hell are you on his side with this shit? You were with that fucking bear. You know what these crazies are doing. I wince internally at being reminded of the incident, but I try again, reaching out. Yeah, but Clint isn't Brian. You know he was pushed around by that bear too. Leo pulls his arm further away from me. God damn it. He's looking back and forth between me and Kudzu again. What is this? You're both acting like I'm the crazy one. The wolf pushes his chair back from the table. I heard you whispering shit in the hallway. You've been saying things behind my back? God damn it, Leo, come on. Leo narrows his eyes at Kudzu. Whoa, dude, chill out. Why don't you keep eating, Carl? Leo shifts his gaze towards the bedroom again, before abruptly standing up. I'm gonna check on him. Leo. I start to stand up as well, but Kudzu is one step ahead of me. He moves to intercept the wolf, both hands out. Come on, Leo. But he doesn't get to finish. Instead, the wolf goes straight into him, grabbing one of his arms and punching at his face. Jesus. Kudzu sees it coming and is able to duck, but he's not quite fast enough. Leo's knuckles glance off the raccoon's muzzle, knocking his head around. Leo keeps a hold of the arm and swings Kudzu around, away from the hallway and back into the kitchen. Kudzu takes the fall rather well, going into a sort of roll. He does end up banging against Carl's chair, but he comes up on one knee, panting, and started staring up at Leo. His nose is bleeding. What the fuck? I'm standing before I know it and moving around the table to stand at Kudzu's side. I look him over, trying to see if Leo had done him any serious damage before I look back at the wolf. What are you doing? Carl clumsily tries to help the raccoon up, his ears flat against his head. Leo breathes heavily, staring down at Kudzu before his eyes flick to me. Get away from him. What? Get away from him. This time there's a growly quality to his voice, and I see his fingers drift towards his belt. I do move away from Kudzu, but only just. I don't want either of us getting shot. Leo turns his attention to Kudzu. You, out. Kudzu stares up at the wolf for only a moment before getting briskly to his feet. His breathing is so erratic, I'm wondering if he's going to have a panic attack. He gives me a single glance before hurrying out of the kitchen. I want to stop him, get in his way like he did Leo's. The look on Leo's face right now has me frozen, and I can't do or say anything as I watch the raccoon's tail disappear. That stupid fucking raccoon, thinking he knew what was best! Leo continues to peer out the window, his ears perked up. I know what the hell is best for us. Think he can just come in and tell everyone what to do. See what happens? I start to move back into the hallway toward the kitchen, but Leo suddenly whirls around on me. His frown turns into a sort of uncertain smile. Hey, Otter, are you okay? I don't say anything. I just stare at him. Otter? Vaguely, I can hear Carl clopping around uncertainly in the hallway. Probably too afraid to get close. I try to speak, then wet my lips. Yeah? Leo extends a paw. Come here. Did I scare you? I fidget with my paws. No. Well, come on then. Slowly, I move into the wolf's room. Despite my dragging feet, my mind is racing, trying to decide what the hell is going on and what the hell I'm going to do. Leo's lost it. There's no question about that. It's something that I've sort of known for the past day, ever since we found him in Duke's basement. And now it's getting worse. A lot worse. Still, I continue to move toward him like I'm in some kind of dream. Soon he's got me wrapped up in his arms, and despite the warmth, despite the strength I feel in them, I don't feel good about it at all. I'm just scared. Jula. He breathes into my ear, sending shivers down my spine. I told you I'm going to protect you. I'm going to keep you safe. That's exactly what I'm going to do. He starts rocking me back and forth, shifting us around on his feet like we're doing some kind of half dance at prom. He's moved us around so that I'm looking at the door, and I can see Carl's horns, his eyes fearfully peering into the room. That raccoon, he wasn't good for you. But for me, he helped me. Leo gives me a squeeze that almost knocks the breath from my lungs, and that cuts me off. Maybe, maybe not. I could see him acting strange, kind of like the others. The wolf continues to rock us back and forth as I continue to look over Leo's shoulders, seeing in Carl's eyes that this is definitely fucked up. I don't say anything else to Leo, worried about how he might take it if I keep trying to convince him that Kudzu was only trying to help us. I'm going to get you all out of here, like I should have done from the beginning, okay? He gives me a little shake when I'm silent a little too long. Okay. I don't know. Not right now. I'm not leaving Kudzu, so I'm gonna have to think of a way to get Leo to calm down. I'm also considering just staying separate from him until we can get out of here, but I don't want to tell Jenna that. Man, I hate how this is turning out. I guess it happened 2-3 days ago? I don't remember. But everything was normal until TJ woke up. It was like he was in a trance or something. I wasn't sure what was wrong with him. I thought he might have been having a seizure. Then I thought he was in a psychosis of some kind. He left the motel and just started running, so I followed him. He ran all the way to the lake and I was sure he was going to go in. Then he just stopped on the shore and stared at it. I caught up to him and tried to talk to him, but it was like I wasn't there. All he could say was your name. Chase. Chase, where is Chase? I think he was looking in the water for you. What? Jenna looks right at me. I don't know why, do you? What is that? I shake my head. I have no idea. Liar. The couch tilts. And so I sort of grabbed his shoulder to lead him back, away from the lake. Then he turned on me and he sort of just changed. The water changed that day. My head spins and I brace my paws against the armrest, trying not to fall over. And he attacked me, clawed me up. And for the first time, Jenna sticks out her arm and pulls some of the fur where I see bits of crusted blood. You knew what water felt like. I had to run from him. and he chased me for a while. To everyone else. And as I did, I realized the whole town was different. Everyone was different. Suffocating. I swallow hard, still gripping into the couch, but Jenna doesn't seem to notice, and Kudzu's looking at her. The humming in my head finally starts to die down. You say he's at Leo's. Is he okay? Did he explain what happened? I shake my head. What the fuck was that? I head back outside while Kudzu hangs back up by the door. Just make it quick, and again, yell if something happens. It's fine. I'm realizing I'm giving him like a Steve-O voice. Yeah, dude. Quickly, I unbutton and zip down my fly. I start to go when I hear some footsteps behind me. Look over my shoulder. Shit. Kudzu? What? And then two massive paws wrap around my body. I look down and get a glimpse of thick claws and brown matted fur. What the fuck? I scream as I'm pulled back into the dark toward the desert. I know who it is immediately. The smell... Brian. That and the high-pitched voice cursing as he drags me along through the brush. It's the mine, you idiot! What? I look back at the opening back towards Echo, gently illuminated by moonlight. I thought it was sealed. It is. This is a back entrance. Duke told me about years ago. Said his family has known about it for decades. We push through for a while until we come to another tunnel. This one twice as wide as the one we were just in. Ugh. Brian stands there for a moment, inhaling deeply as he looks around. Hang on, it's been a while. I can't help myself from blurting out. Don't know where to go? I expect him to hit me or something, but he ignores me. I whimper softly in the back of my throat. Please. About to be murdered, and you just beg like a little bitch. What is that? Shut up! I can't help it as I hiss through my teeth at the goddamn voice. I don't need to hear it, especially now. Brian stiffens and turns around. What? I shake my head, squinting and able to see his face as the bear turns the light on me. Nothing, I just... No, you were talking to someone. Did you see someone? No, I don't know. I shut my eyes against the light and only see blood red. Brian chuckles and my vision goes back to black as he takes the light off me. I was the same way as you. Let me tell you something though. Ignore it, it ain't gonna make it go away. Stop pretending I'm not here. You can feel me. You felt me looking over your shoulder since you got here. I let my head thump against my knees, closing my eyes. Well, really ever since Sydney. Just ignore it. But I can understand. Even I feel as though something is controlling me. It's the oddest thing. The last thing I'll ever hear. Then Brian sighs. Again, I feel like I should tell you everything. So you know? So you don't have to come back and fuck with me. But Duke, he said all this started when you came back. I told you I have no idea why. My voice rises in pitch and I start to panic. Duke had already tried to kill me even after we tried to convince him I had nothing to do with any of this. Not any of this? Are you sure of that? I feel Brian set his feet behind me and I can picture him getting ready to pull the trigger. I'm going to die. This keeps happening, doesn't it? This hysteria. I'm sorry. Remember, this is for the good of the town. To me, it's like the town holds its breath, letting all the evil build up until it has to let it all out in one big go. Brian grips into my head fur, pressing the barrel of the gun into the back of my head. And you brought a lot of guilt and evil with you back to this town. Maybe that was enough to push it over the edge again. Just easy. So in a way, it is your fault, isn't it? My eyes are watering and I don't know if it's from Brian's grip in my fur or if I'm crying. Help me. I say it to you. I glance to my right and see something standing in the entrance to our little hollow. It's faint, either because of the dim lighting or because the thing itself isn't quite opaque. It's tall, white, and gangly, and its long fingers nearly touch the ground. Its face is heart-shaped, the whiteness of it interrupted by massive, shiny black eyes in its face. It stands there motionless, watching us. I stare back, open-mouthed. Brian must have taken notice, because the next thing I know, the bear squeals. It's so loud and high-pitched I wince. Brian lets me go just as this thing moves. It seems to lean forward and glide toward us, but the gliding is stilted, like a film with half seconds missing from it. It flickers, seeming to turn transparent as it grows closer, the white fading to pink, then a bright red for a brief second before reverting. I'm frozen, kneeling as I watch. Brian backs away and promptly steps on the flashlight. The lighting careens sideways, and I look over to see Brian's foot slip on the cylindrical flashlight before his rump comes down hard on top of it. All light is extinguished, and I can't see the thing or Brian now. I hear him, though, as he lets out another screech of pure fear like a wounded animal. There's something else, too. A voice that's also high-pitched, babbling something fast and senseless. It's like a tape recorder being rewound. Brian's screeching impossibly turns up a notch, and I instinctively move forward, away from the horrible sounds, and I pitch forward into the hole. The smell engulfs me, and I can feel the hard, knobbly things in the dirt around me. Where are we going? Just taking a back road. What? But we're leaving the city. Yeah, well, I live outside the city. You didn't tell me that. Let's just go back to the club. Alright, pull the fuck over. Let me out. I said pull over. Where the fuck is the lock? Best not be doing that. Hey, get off me! I gasp and scramble out of the grave, gagging uncontrollably. Once I'm out, I curl up on my side, drawing in my knees again. The horrible screeching and bizarre babbling language continue, though the sounds from Brian are more ragged now. Occasionally the room flashes with light as Brian shifts around, but I face the wall, not wanting to look. Get up. I curl up tighter, just waiting, hoping that I wake up. You sniffling little shit, get up. I press my face into the dirt. Trust me, there's far worse out there, and it's coming for you unless you get up and get out. I've given up. Jesus. You force yourself up onto your hands and knees and start crawling in the direction of the exit. Is this the dream? The flashlight continues to be rolled around, giving you glimpses of where you're going. The sounds from Brian have stopped. Now it's just the mechanical gibberish that seems to be growing in pitch and speed. But you don't look back. You don't need to see that. The otter is already broken enough. Soon, you're crawling through the exit, and the cacophony behind you is immediately muted. It becomes more and more faint until it almost disappears as you come out the other side. Once you're free, you stand up in the comparatively fresh, cool air. The main tunnel. You remember this place. You also know the tunnel's like the back of your hand. It's pitch black, but if you feel along the walls, you should be able to find your way out. You head to the right, down toward the end of the main tunnel with your right hand dragging along the wall. What's going on? Are we possessed? Then when you feel an opening with your hand, you take a left, then another right, and finally a final right that takes you out the back exit. Nick had drilled the directions into your head far too many times for you to... Red eyes appear at the end of the tunnel, at the end of the last stretch. You freeze and observe. Things in the mines can hurt you far worse than outside. Brian had just experienced that. What happened to him? But you're not sure. Is this one of the otter's demons, or... No, it's something else. Something you're not quite seeing correctly. A friend. A lizard. What? He's warped. What? Flynn? Chase! I slump to my knees, shaking uncontrollably as Flynn shines a light down on me. Fuck, Chase, come on, let's go! Flynn yanks me to my feet, and the next thing I know, I'm stumbling after him. Out of the mine, and out of what I'm now completely convinced is hell. Oh, I sit in the passenger seat of Flynn's truck, feeling numb. I choose to stare out the window, watching the desert rush by as Flynn tries to ask me questions. Where's the bear? I shake my head. Is he still in the mine? I think so. What happened? I don't know. It feels strange being back out here. While everything is definitely fucked up and strange out here in Echo, at least it makes some sense. The mine is completely different. It's... chaos. That's the word. Chaos. What? How did you find me? I look back at Flynn and see that he's staring at me closely, barely keeping an eye on the road. I went to Leo's house. Found all of you guys there, except you, of course. Just waiting? I don't know how to feel about the idea of all my friends just sitting around while a serial killer had kidnapped me. Of course, none of us really knew Brian was a serial killer. Well, a lot of Well, a lot was going on. Kudzu, that raccoon, is the one that told me you were missing. Leo, on the other hand, said you were fine, that he saw you around the house. What? Flynn shrugs. I have no fucking clue, but it was practically holding everyone hostage. Wouldn't give the keys up, so I had to take my own truck out here. Is everyone okay? Hopefully. Jenna said she'd try and keep him calm while I came and looked for you. Comes to an end and eventually, and Kudzu is the last to draw back. I'm about to ask where TJ is when I see Leo. The wolf stands at the entrance of the hallway, his eyes on me and Kudzu. He's got a pillow on one paw and his shirt is hitched up over his stomach a bit, like he'd just pulled it on. What are you doing? The room goes quiet and the mood immediately changes. Carl, Jenna, and Kudzu all look weary. No one says anything. I'm back. Brian took me to... Leo frowns. Back? No, you were in my room and asked for a pillow. We were... Leo's glare turns on Kudzu. Have they been telling you to say this? Leo, no. The look in my former boyfriend's... Oh, come on. God damn it. It's completely alien to me. I've never seen that look up from him before. I guess I knew that the town or whatever all this is had gotten to him, but not completely taken him. Now I'm not so sure. Kudzu stands next to me, his shoulder in front of mine. Leo eyes him again before turning back to me. Chase, come here. I don't move. The room is completely silent. Chase, I said, come here. Leo, what the hell? Leo ignores Flynn, his steely eyes on mine. The feeling of coming to a safe place is completely gone now. Echo has seeped into every part of my life, it seems. But I don't move, and neither does Kudzu. Leo doesn't seem to know what to do. His face transforms from anger to confusion. Chula, you were just in the bedroom with me, telling me. I was in the mine, Leo, with Brian. The silence drags on until a soft clicking comes from the kitchen. Everyone looks as TJ emerges, staring at us with all sad, lost eyes. TJ, what is it? There's another train coming. Oh, good. Thank you for watching, TJ. Nervously. I don't know if I can run that fast. You will, now. I feel a paw land on my shoulder and turn me around. It's Leo. Hey. Hey, what is it? I look back at Flynn, wanting to hear what he's saying. Listen to me. Everything you said at the house. Did you mean it? Uh-huh. What did I say? He looks impatient. Well, you said about loving me. Wanting to be with me forever. You meant that, right? What? Train is approaching. You have maybe a minute. What the fuck? Why are you acting like you don't fucking remember? Leo bristles, teeth bared, eyes narrowing. My God, Leo, let's get out of here first. I start to back away toward the others as they continue to discuss jumping on the train. No. Leo grabs my shoulder, looking me right in the eye. Come on, Leo. He makes an effort to calm down, closing his eyes a moment before opening them. Then tell me now. Are you going to stay with me when this is all over? We can talk about this when we get on the train. No, I want to know before. I see Kudzu looking at us, and it looks like he's about to head over. Just tell the truth. That's all I want. I really want to... Yes, we'll work something out. I promise. When we get on that train, we'll figure everything out, okay? Leo watches me carefully, looking unsure. Kudzu's next to me at that moment, though, and he pulls me back toward the group. Come on, we're going now. Leo's eyes flash as he watches, his teeth showing. I don't have time to try and console him anymore because the train starts pulling up. Run! Flynn shoves Carl forward and the ram takes off alongside the rails, looking over his shoulder at the train. The next thing I know, we're all running after Carl as the train catches up. I look back. Flynn waves both arms as the locomotive as it whizzes past, but if there's a reaction from the driver, I don't see it. I have just enough time to read the letters on the side of the engine, Prescott Railway, before it's moving past down the tracks. I realize then that the train is quite short, maybe only 5 cars in all. We won't have many chances. Kudzu! Flynn points at the caboose and starts running beside it. That was a... I'm just gonna keep that. Next to 2 little steps that drop down at the very end from a platform. Carefully, the lizard jumps, landing his feet on the steps as his hands scramble for some kind of purchase. He finds it and pulls himself in, and the next second, he's reaching out, holding onto a handle in the caboose as he grabs one of Kudzu's paws. With much more ease than Flynn had, Kudzu jumps onto the steps and pulls himself onto the platform. I pass Carl at this point, the ram already losing steam. He calls after me in a hoarse, ragged voice. Shit, I'm not gonna make... Flynn grabs the ram as they pass, and Carl skips on the uneven gravel. And for a horrifying moment, I think he's gonna fall. But Kudzu leans in and snatches him up as well, practically lifting Carl onto the platform. Jenna, who's right beside me, is next, reaching out a paw to Flynn. He grabs it and Jenna easily jumps on, over the 2 steps. I think it's my turn next, but TJ slows down abruptly, and I move to the side to make room for him. Flynn grabs his arm, and TJ hesitates several times before Kudzu gets a grip on him as well, and he's able to step up onto the first step. It's then that I realize that the train is picking up speed and I'm starting to slow down. I move up beside the caboose, seeing Flynn's outstretched hand. Now that I'm next to it, I can see how terrifying this is. The wheels clack loudly in my ears, and I have no idea how I'm going to lift one leg up while keeping up this speed. But I get a grasp on Flynn's hand, and I see Kudzu's paw reaching out as well. The train's going way too fast now, and I know I'll only have one chance at this. I pull down on their hands and lift my feet up to land on the last step. Once my feet make contact, relief floods through me. I can't help myself as I grin and take my first step up. Then I hear the sound of stomping footsteps behind me. I look back and see Leo running right next to me, snarling with every breath. I start to move quickly, wanting to be out of the way for Leo's turn, but that's when I see him already reaching out. For me. His anchor bracelet glints in the moonlight. I don't have time to think as the wolf grabs the back of my shirt and pulls hard. What? I hear threads pop in my collar as I'm choked. I lose my grip on Flynn and Kudzu. As I fall, I reach out and grab onto a railing on the platform. In doing so, my legs swing under the train, and I lose my grip. I hit the ground hard and roll several times before something catches my legs. I'm pulled violently with the train, and an unbelievable pressure squeezes me, like my calves are caught in a vice. Suddenly, the train lets me go, and I come to an abrupt, sliding stop in the gravel. I lay there, stunned, feeling nothing. And then an almighty throb goes through my legs. I gasp and push myself up, and see my feet missing. I stare as my legs seem to end where the ends of my pants do. A dark, dark stain pools out onto the ground around them. I can't think. I don't know what to think. Chase! I look up and see Kudzu. Just Kudzu limping towards me. Did he get out? I wonder if he's missing a foot too, but no, just limping on it. As he approaches, I point out my missing feet, like maybe he'll have the answer to what just happened. Fuck! Immediately, the raccoon drops down beside me, reaching for his waist. He's undoing his belt, and I'm about to tell him now's not the time for that kind of stuff. But then he starts putting the belt around one of my calves. What did you think he was doing? That's when he lifts the pant leg, and I get a glimpse of ragged flesh and fur, blood, and the white of bone. Leo, you fucking dumbass! Give me your belt! I hear footsteps behind me. Take it out! Kudzu slumps down over my legs, and I wonder if he's trying to stop the bleeding with his body. A similar dark puddle starts to form around his head and face. Shit. I reach out and press a paw to his head, wishing I wore a belt so I could put it around his neck. Oh no, no, no. Leo mumbles in my ear, pushing Kudzu off roughly as he looks at my legs. We're gonna get you fixed. I didn't mean for this to happen, but we'll figure something out. Wolf slides his arms around me and picks me up and the world tilts. Leo flashes me a grin from across the table, as my mom turns away to get drinks from the fridge. This is going way better than I thought it would. My dad asks Leo what he's doing for a living, and the wolf tells him he's already got a high-paying job at the auto repair shop. At the same time, he's playing footsies with me under the table. My legs are throbbing regularly now, not even really hurting. I squint against the bright light of the bathroom as Leo flips it on. He turns to the bathtub, and I see a bright streak of red on the wall after he does. Then he lays me down in the tub and starts to wrap stuff around my legs. It does start to hurt, and then I groan. Shh, don't worry, it's fine. This is gonna fix you up completely. The end of the bathtub is completely red. I lay my head on Leo's chest as he taps away, texts on his phone. I love days like this, where we have the whole afternoon free and we choose to do nothing. It's peaceful and quiet. I love the way the late afternoon sun pours through the window and warms my fur, while at the same time being cooled by the fan. I realize then that I want to spend the rest of my life with this wolf. Leo nuzzles my neck and head fur, mumbling into my ear, but I can't really understand him. I look down and see that my pants are off and I'm just in my boxers. The end of my legs are wrapped in red bandages, completely soaked through, soaking into the bed I'm laying in. I start to reach toward them, but my hand is shaking so hard, and Leo grabs it and pulls it back to my chest. I'm really cold. In response, Leo draws closer and spoons me. Early morning light is pouring through the window, and I think I can hear sirens. Leo nuzzles my ear again, and I try to pull away, but he holds me tight. Like you said, we're gonna work something out. I knew it would be easier to do that here in Echo, where we started. Seeing you leave on that train was too much. Something leers at me from the corner of the room. What? Leo gazes at me with pure, unconditional love as he pulls back from our kiss. My first kiss. My excitement comes out in a burst of giggles as I hug my wolf to my body, feeling his soft warmth against me. The wolf hugs back, and we stay like that for a long time. I don't even mind that it's in this rundown train yard in the middle of the hot desert. I'm in love with him. He holds me tight. The throbbing in my legs has stopped. I'm not cold anymore either, just empty. That creature stares at me from the corner, red and grotesque. I stare back as my vision slowly fades. I don't feel anything anymore.
Yeah, rewind time.
Come on, I don't want... Now isn't the time for this. In fact, it's the absolute worst time for something like this. But looking at him, I can tell that this is the only time for Leo. No, Leo. Leo's eyes widen, and he leans his head back just slightly, at the same time taking a step back. It's like I've physically pushed him. After everything that's happened, I just can't. Leo seems frozen, watching me, his arms hanging loosely at his sides. I hear the crunch of gravel next to me, and Kudzu's by my side.
Come on, we're going now.
Leo's hand moves then to his waistband. I have a moment to see him lift a gun from under his shirt. Come on. My body moves automatically, stepping in front of the raccoon and raising my hands up to my chest defensively. Leo has already frozen his motion, though, gun in front of his stomach, still pointed down at the ground as he stares past me.
What the fuck?
I feel Kudzu grab my arm from behind, his grip so tight that it's painful. But I keep my eyes on Leo, waiting and watching to see what direction the gun might go in. Then it drops. First his arm, which hangs loosely by his side once more, then the gun, which clatters to the gravel below. I flinch, expecting it to go off. It doesn't, and instead my ears are filled with the sound of the arriving train. Leo's eyes are back on mine, and I watch his tears start to spill out. Come on, Leo. We have to get out of here. Kuju pulls me back and I turn away from Leo in the town of Echo as I rejoin the rest of the group. I don't know if we're safe or if this whole plan is going to work, but we'd carried it out somehow, and that feels good for once. Then I remember Leo and look back, expecting to see him running next to the train. Instead, all I see is the brush and gravel rushing past. I look back toward the town and I think I can make out a small figure in the distance, exactly where I'd left him. Where the hell is Leo? I stay silent, but Flynn follows my gaze out toward the desert. Shit. At that moment, I'm not sure what I should feel. Of sadness, like a physical wave smashing into my body. Probably the same thing Leo felt when I told him. Some part of me knows that this shouldn't matter right now. All that matters is that we might have just escaped with our lives. But leaving Leo behind. Someone I'd known most of my life. Someone who'd protected me, been a friend to me, guided me through the worst parts of my life. Someone who'd always emphasized togetherness and family, who'd always vowed to protect me and stand by my side. Fuck. The very same person had just chosen to stay behind. While we're the ones leaving, he's the one that decided to leave us. And as that solitary figure grows smaller and smaller, that idea hurts more than anything else right now. After seeing Janice get murdered, after being tortured by Brian, after being nearly murdered in a mine, the separation from my best friend is the knife being twisted in my chest. I sink to my knees, holding onto the railing, wondering if I should have stayed behind. Because the Leo I'd just been with isn't the Leo I really know. He needed help and I'd just abandoned him. I should have stayed behind. Hot tears spill over my cheeks as I stare at the metal platform. Fuck you. You say the words under my breath, but there's more rage behind them than anything I've ever said in my life. And they're meant for Echo. Fuck you for killing Janice. Fuck you for hurting William. Fuck you for killing Duke. Fuck you for hurting Cliff. Fuck you for what's buried in the mines. Fuck you for hurting Nick. Fuck you for twisting my friends into something they're not. Fuck you for hurting Cynthia and Murdoch. And fuck you for ruining my life. I sit there on my knees, sobbing hard, like I'm crying for two people at once. I can't see Leo anymore. The thought of him alone and probably hurting like me is too much. I don't know how long I cry for, but it feels like a long time. God damn it. After a while, I feel a paw on my shoulder. I imagine the rest of my friends standing there, staring at me. When I turn my head, it's only Kutsu. Raccoon is crouched next to me, his head turned towards me, a look that can only be described as understanding on his face. In a bit of a daze, I rub my face on my shoulder to clear my vision. Sorry. Don't be. Kuju says it automatically as he rubs my shoulder gently. Do you want to get up? The rest of them went inside. I stay crouched there a moment, watching the blur of train tracks in front of me as we continue through the desert. Give me a sec. My nose is all stuffy, so my voice comes out clogged. The tiny lights of Echo on the endless expanse of desert get smaller and smaller. And so too does the feeling of tension in my chest. And with the tension goes the sad, angry presence in my head. It goes quiet again. Makes me feel a bit better. But each time I think about Leo, that knife gets a little deeper. Kudzu nods and squeezes my shoulder. After a few moments of silence, he speaks. You know that someone I lost a few years ago? I wipe my eyes again and nod. He was my boyfriend. I keep silent as I stare at the tracks, almost hypnotized. That strange feeling of wanting to jump tickles at the back of my brain, then fades slowly. With a grating screech, the train starts slowing down. We got out. I'm a little surprised. I guess I thought the train wasn't even real, that it would just go on forever. But now it comes to a slow, stuttering stop. We all sit in the dark, quiet, listening, and then Flynn stands up and opens the door. Soft orange light spills inside. What the hell? Out of the doorway, I see rows of train tracks occupied with other boxcars. Someone moves into view. It's an older-looking fox in overalls. He stares up at us like we're aliens. Where the hell did you come from? A moment of silence goes by before Flynn clears his throat. We're from Echo. That's just how it ends. Oh, Saturday. What? Okay. Epilogue. Epilogue. Yeah, Mom. I promise I'll call you in an hour. I'm going to... But now that I'm leaving the area for good, I want to see it one more time. The town. And Leo. How much time has passed? I let the breath out. Is Leo okay? So he's okay. No, I need to do this. I've thought about it for so damn long, there's no way I'd forgive myself for backing out now. I need closure.
Unless you're planning on going inside.
No, I'll stay outside.
Alright, but I'll be watching in case you two try anything.
Yeah, right. It's been 2 years. Eyes on the road as he tries to turn his face toward me. I give him a quick peck on the side of his muzzle and he laughs. I try to laugh as well, but it gets caught in my throat as I see that old house. And there waiting in the driveway is Leo. He doesn't have his. Hey, how's it going? Leo cheerfully greets me as I open my door. It catches me off guard a little bit, his mood being so different from mine. Hey, Leo. What's up? Leo has his paws shoved in his pockets, but still manages to shrug. Not much. You? Not much. Leo ducks his head and looks in at Kudzu. Hey, Kud, you alright? Kudzu awkwardly answers from behind me. Yeah, I'm okay. There's a moment of silence. I try to think of what to say or do. I hadn't expected Leo to just meet me outside. Did you want to come in for a beer or something?
Oh, I'm actually driving for the next couple of hours.
Yeah, we were just stopping by for a minute. Ah, okay. Leo's smile falters a little bit, then he shrugs again. Want to go for a walk then? Stretch your legs? I look back at Kudzu, but he doesn't say anything. Doesn't give me a hint as to what he's thinking. He's leaving the decision up to me. Yeah, sure. Leo ducks his head again. You want to come, Kud? Kudzu hesitates, then shakes his head.
Nah, you two go ahead. I prefer the AC.
Alright, cool. Feeling just a little tension between the two of them, I quickly jump out and shut my door. I look over at the rail yard, which is in full view of the car, and point. Want to walk over there? Sure. So you've just been hanging out here for the past 2 years? A little bit. Spent a lot of time at my parents'. I'm moving back in with them right now, actually. Oh yeah? Yeah, it sucks. But honestly, I can't stand all the vultures scavenging around for stories here. I actually visited Carl once in a while over the summer. Leo nods up towards the mountains, and I see the big mansion glinting gently in the sunset. Yeah, that's cool. I hear he's doing pretty good at school right now. Good. Are you going back to school? I shrug my shoulders, walking up to the train tracks to straddle the steel rails. Not in Pueblo, since we're moving up a couple states, but probably eventually. There's a lull in the conversation as we both go quiet. Aww. I look back at Leo. Are you okay? Leo looks up from kicking around some rocks. I scratch my head vigorously, trying to think of how not to say the wrong thing. Have you been doing okay? Are you happy? Leo smiles. Not really. How do you? I think back to the past 2 years of nightmares and panic attacks, of breaking down into tears out of nowhere. How just a few hours ago I dropped to the ground in a grocery store in Peyton because someone dropped a jar of jam. But Kudzu had been there, like always, to help me back up. Yeah, and who has Leo had? Fucking nobody. Chase. I'm managing. I can't cope with this. It's a process. That's good. Are you managing? Leo chuckles. I'm just living. Are you getting help? Like professional help? Yeah. No. Oh. Well, it can really help. I like to do things on my own these days. Leo looks back toward the car. Kudzu barely visible through the windows. People can help. You don't have to do everything on your own. I think it's best if I stay away from people for now. I notice the anchor bracelet missing from Leo's wrist. I look down at the tracks. Listen, I'm sorry about everything that happened. I wish I could do things over, even before what happened here in Echo. Leo looks at me for a moment, a sad smile on his face. The last 2 years have been hell for me. I cried myself to sleep every night thinking about you. I feel my face flush with embarrassment and, for some reason, shame. But last month, for the first time, it stopped. I stopped thinking about you every hour. I stopped thinking about what you might be doing, about how he might be treating you, about whether or not you're thinking of me. Yeah, I still think about you sometimes, and when I do, I still cry. But now it hurts less, so yeah, I am doing better, Chase. Fuck. Oh, well, that's good. I have no right to feel a little sad, but I do. I'm sorry, Chase, for not protecting you the way I should have, for trying to control you and do all that shady shit behind your back. Whatever the fuck was in this town that made us all go crazy, I realize it twisted up my thinking. And nothing you did was your fault! But those thoughts were always there. Echo just brought it up to the surface. So I'm a shitty person, and you made me realize that. And I'm sorry I brought you into it. Just know that I really did love you. Fuck. It wasn't you, though. It was the town. You're not shitty! Oh. Anyway, you should get back to Kud. He'll take care of you. And I hope you'll take care of him, okay? My mouth hangs open a little bit, but that snaps me back to reality. Yeah, I'll do that. I start walking back to the car, but Leo doesn't follow me. I pause. Do you want my new number? We can talk. No. The surprised look on my face makes Leo laugh. It's a real laugh. Kind of sad, kind of happy, but real. It wouldn't be good for either of us. So we're just saying goodbye forever. That old knife in my heart starts twisting again. Leo shrugs. You never know. I stand there, 10 feet away from my first boyfriend. My first kiss in this very rail yard. My best friend. But hey, if you drive through Peyton again, I'm always open to have another chat. Maybe it'll catch me in a better place. I will. I say it immediately, and Leo smiles at me. So I'll see you again someday. I look forward to it. Alright, bye then. Goodbye, Chase. I walk the rest of the distance to the car and open the passenger door before getting in and sitting down. With the door still open, I look back one last time. Leo stands there, paws still jammed in his pockets, his fur outlined with orange and gold light from the setting sun. Highlighted his head fur like a halo. I take it in for a moment, then wave. He waves back. And with that, I close the door. Oh, don't show me that! Don't fucking show me that! You piece of shit! Can't show me that being lovey-dovey after that!
Driving down your street at midnight, see your face in the passing lights.
I didn't expect this experience to hit me in as many ways as it did.